More. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining the raid. Tonight we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Matty Pace. We also have our co-host with the most, Mr. Savage, and he's going to do a little introduction for himself tonight. Mr. Matty Pace, the best way he knows how to. Mr. Inspirational himself, Mr. Motivational.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, take it away.
Please.
Hello. First, I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Savage Raider, for having me on. I'm extremely excited to be on the Join the Raid podcast, and I am so excited. So thank you to anyone tuning in that doesn't know me. Hello, my name is Matty Pace, the host with the most mojo, the number one MC you ever did hear or see on TTV. And thank you so much for tuning on into us, not just me. It's a pleasure to have you guys here and be a part of this moment.
Thank you.
It's awesome. I can't believe you said yes to come on here.
Of course. Come on now.
Well, it's funny because you kept promoting it and like saying it in your streams and stuff like that. I was like, you know,
Yeah.
like I only seen Maddie on like one or two of them, but it's like, why is he promoting it so damn much?
It's just the guy that I am, and I enjoy it. You know, I promote things and people that I genuinely enjoy, and I was honored to watch your first one that you did on YouTube, which was so sick, and it was a great chemistry, and I really love that. So I'm hyped that you asked.
Yeah, when I saw you from, I was like, I'm gonna shoot him a DM. I'm gonna just ask.
I'm happy you did. Like I said, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful and just, filled with a bunch of joy,
Yeah. So most people know our dynamic here usually isn't all positive, everything like that. Usually it's kind of
Mixed bag.
Yeah. You discuss pressing topics and things like that, so it's nice.
It's energetic for sure. You still have the vibes. It's not going to be down all the time, but you still have controversial topics sometimes, some interesting topics other times.
I mean, I like the taboo stuff because people don't talk about it. Things that need to be talked about.
Real life conversations.
Yeah, exactly. Having a conversation.
But tonight we're going to talk about something that people need to learn to do. Tonight we're going to talk about communication and living life positively.
Okay. I love that.
Something we all have something like that in common. Some of us have less than that than others, like myself, because I don't live life positively. I don't. I'm a skeptic until I'm one of those people that look at everything and is like, if I don't see it happening right, I don't think it's happening right. You know?
Yeah, I feel you.
So, yeah. So we're gonna start off, Mr. Savage. Go ahead, start off with whatever question you want to shoot.
Okay, so Maddie, how did you know you had this kind of like energy, the vibes? Like, what was like the first like thing that popped to your mind? Is like, this is me. This is what I'm gonna do for like, as a career kind of thing, for like on Twitch. Like, you're always very positive, very energetic, and it's always inspiring to me because I love it. And so I was curious, like, how did that come up about? Like, what was like the starting point, really?
The starting point for Twitch was right around 4 years ago, I'd say. But prior to that, I had been already creating my own podcast since 2018 called The Matty Mo Show.
Okay.
And it was a daily podcast and really oriented towards the high energy and mental health aspect of life, and obviously some risky topics and stuff come the weekend, Friday, Saturday. But overall, I just, I was presented an ultimatum at work at my last career.
Okay.
And it was do something that I was against and disagreed with, just to keep stability and the safe way of life, I guess you could say. Which there's nothing wrong with that. It would have been a great time. Or it was, in my opinion, the last message or the last opportunity, last chance that I was given by the universe to, kind of push me towards pursuing what I believe that I was, created for, which is bringing a little bit more light into other people's lives and inspiring and motivating and entertaining, I guess you could say, in a unique way. So that was kind of like the turning point, which led me to where I am now on Twitch and to get started originally.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
My turn. So when you started your journey out, seeing this and seeing that, I want to be somebody's inspiration. I want to be the reasons people keep going. What got you to that point? What put you? What were you going through and said, "I'm going to do this"?
So the streaming came that much later from when
Mhm.
I began my actual trek and path into the world of motivation. That started back in, I want to say, 2011 or 12 is when I started, and basically what put me on that path of really digging more into myself and the motivational side of life and spirituality was I got tired of seeing so much negativity on social media. Believe it or not, my Facebook page at the time, it was just, people around my same age were living, same area, and just to see so much negativity
Mhm.
was just like, man, I just can't stand it, and it's no better than the news that, you put on TV, which, it's good to be informed about things that are happening. But I think, for the most part, it's just causes a lot of stress and anxiety, and I just got tired of seeing it, so I decided to fight fire with fire in a sense. And for all the negative stuff I saw, I just started putting out a ton of positive, motivational, empowering, and encouraging thoughts that I was having. And that led into creating my own Facebook page called Maddie's Motivation that has been now out for about 13ish years, I want to say, maybe 10, 11, 12, somewhere around that number. I lost track a while ago, but yeah, that's kind of where it all started. And then I saw live streaming, like I said, as an opportunity to be able to connect with people live time rather than just making videos and putting those out and talking to people in comments. I thought it was really cool that you could connect with people in real time from all over the world. And that to me is just what I love most about streaming and
Yeah, that's
creating
cool.
this motivation through Twitch and TikTok and stuff.
So we're going to go backwards a little bit.
Mhm.
So you talked about your podcast. You did a little podcast thing, and it was the Maddie Mo show.
Yes.
Last episode was September 1st, 2022.
It was a while ago. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
that sounds pretty accurate. I don't remember the episode number, like
So we're gonna
1,600 and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
one
that
thousand
was
six
that
hundred
was the last
sixty-eight.
one. Yeah, that was the last one when I decided to kinda just silently put it down for a little while.
Yeah. Did you have an exit, or did you just say, okay, I'm done with this?
I did not give anyone anything. I did not tell anyone that I was stepping away or that I was gonna take a break from it and focus more on like live streaming and content creation. I just kind of gently bowed out the same way that I came on, didn't really say much, just entered the scene and exited it. And that's kind of where it's been now for a little while.
Okay.
For a
And
few
then
years,
yeah.
surprisingly, you just brought that up. It's like, "Oh, wow, it's been 3 years, that's crazy."
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Yep.
Time
maybe I
flies.
shoulda tipped people off, but I'm a mysterious man for as much as I'm in the public eye.
I mean, yeah, I can say that
Yeah.
because somebody asked me the other day when I was in a Twitch stream. So like, how do you get people on your show? What do you do first? It's like, well, first I deep dive their social media.
Which is a very wise thing to do because
You
you
never know.
never know who you're gonna bring onto a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
want
then, if there's
Kudos
any
to
red
you for doing
flags,
that, yeah.
well, it's not just me.
Well, you
If I don't do
guys,
it,
yeah.
if I don't do it, the boss, she'll do it. And
The boss lady.
how do I say this? Yeah, we'll say aggressive. We'll say
Uh,
aggressive. Yeah, she's more
Nothing wrong with
aggressive than
that.
me.
Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Because myself, I have this thing that I see the best in people. Like, as skeptical as I am of the world, I still see the best in people. So,
Mm.
she's there to keep me balanced out. Because if I don't, I'll just be like, no, it's okay. It's not a big a red flag. She's like, no, it is. No, it is.
I love that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
understand. You see the seeing the good in people is it's a great thing, and at times can also be kind of a negative thing. It's kind
No,
of
yeah.
funny how it works, right?
Yeah. And I just want to go back real quick, but when you were talking about the beginning, you said like on Facebook you would see people with like negative comments all the time. I'm actually starting to see that more and more every day now to myself.
Mm.
And it makes me feel sad for them because that's all all they do every day, all day. They just post negative stuff all day, and it's like you're just bringing yourself down. Everything you're saying can or may not be true, but at the end of the day, you just bring yourself down further and further, and you should be trying to focus more on positive. You see a negative, try to change that negative into a positive, so that way you're not bringing yourself down all that time, because no one should be living like that, really. So like you said, it's cool to see that you saw that and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go the opposite direction, do a 180 and go that way.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in, like, for many of us, I think a lot of people in the world, or at least let's say in America, just to narrow it down a little bit more because of the culture, um, was taught to be the change that you seek, treat others how you want to be treated. These are a lot of common things that I think, if not parents pushed in lives of the children that they had, schools would. So that just kind of stuck with me from childhood up until where I am today. And I think that's a beautiful, for me anyways, I think however you choose to look at life is beautiful, because you're making the choice. But to me, I think, like you said, to your point, looking at the positive side of life really is, in a lot of ways, a little bit better for at least the individual. And
Yeah.
it may encourage someone to do the same too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's go ahead and start this journey off right now.
Oh, baby.
Maddie, what are the key elements of effective communication in personal and professional settings?
Mm.
Something I need help with all the time.
Well,
Yeah.
let's see. I say, I say, vibes don't lie, people do. So, you know, composure is key. Composure
Mm-hmm.
is key in everything from negotiations and business to just relationships, friendships. I think
Mm-hmm.
composure is key, especially in leadership. Other than that, trust your intuition because it'll never lie to you. That's that gut instinct that, they talk about. Trust the energy and listen first, understand second, respond third.
Okay.
I think that to me makes an effective, baseline for communication. And you can really get to whatever the point is that you're trying to reach. You can get there in a little bit more civil way if you do have opposing sides to a conversation or something like that. But that's kind of how I look at communication. I do my best to try to listen as well as I can, try to understand it, take it in. What did they mean by that? How am I feeling about it? And then respond, not react, but respond.
I
And
like
I
that.
think, yeah, it just takes a lot of practice on the responding instead of the reacting. But
Yeah.
definitely that to me makes for good communication.
That could be, I mean, sadly that's how people do it today. They react instead of respond, and especially in like the political side of things.
Oh,
People
yeah, it's
people,
one of the worst.
you know, they go off, they react instantly instead of responding, take in the information like you said, gather the resources and then how you feel and then represent what you're trying to say. But instead, a lot of people like that's just an example of one side of it. It could be other topics at hand, but that's a big thing today. A lot of people just react emotionally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I think a lot of people react because they're so they're just constantly in a battle within themselves.
Hmm.
It's hard for them to stay calm when there is no calmness within their own mind and life. And I've noticed that the calmer you are, the more cool, the more collected you are as an individual, you notice those people have a little bit better of an attitude towards life. And when things do happen, because
Hmm.
no matter how good of a person you are, bad things will happen, but how you handle the things that come into your life are more important than the actual things that come into your life.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a famous quote out there. I don't know who originally coined it, but they said, "Life is 90% 10% what happens to you, 90% how you handle it."
Mm.
Okay.
And I
Yeah,
always said, when I first heard that, I said, whoever said that had the right idea.
that's true.
Yeah.
All right. So
Mm,
we
thank
have a
you.
first question in the chat. What's the difference between reacting and responding to you?
Mm.
To me, reacting is your initial, I guess, very ego driven and fight or flight self, which human instinct is important. Fight or flight's important. If you hear gunshots around you, you're not just going to sit there and you're not just going to, like, ha ha ha. You're going to run. You're going to find cover. You're going to go somewhere. a number of scenarios you can say it's good to have your human instincts take over and react, fight or flight. But when you're in a constant state of fight or flight, when you react because you're in a very surface level place, you cause more destruction in your life than you do peace. Um, and when you react, you show the other person just how not in control of yourself you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're always reacting to whatever it is, you are in essence a slave to what you're reacting to. Whether it's what someone said to you, whether it's what happened and someone cut you off in traffic, whether you got an overcooked bagel from Dunkin' Donuts. If you always let something trigger you, you're never in control. Your life is gonna be just one state of fight or flight. You're always gonna be stressed, anxious. You're gonna just be in a bad place mentally, and physically and spiritually. But responding shows that you're a little bit more okay inside. Responding shows you're a little bit more not so much focused on how people perceive you, but rather how you perceive you. I think
Mm.
responding is a lot more peaceful. Responding shows that you've done a little bit more internal work than the people that react all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Responding also to me shows that you not only seek a certain sense of resolution in what it is you're faced with, but also within yourself. Because I don't think anyone likes to get yelled at. No one likes to get made fun of. No one likes to get, totally
Harassed.
just
Yeah.
targeted, yeah. But when you respond, you'll notice people don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They try to find ways around it, or there's a bunch of different ways to say one thing or to preach a point. And I think responding comes from a better place of internal growth. Yeah, and that's kind of where I differentiate reacting versus responding.
I get that. It's like Miss Wagbag said in chat. So it's more of like an emotional response rather than a rational one, which that's how I perceive it as well.
Yeah,
It
that's way better than my long-winded answer, I think. Yeah, that in the
it's
Yeah,
short, yeah, in the
yeah.
short, I think that 100%,
Yeah, if
110%.
you wanted to condense it and consolidate it, that's pretty much the
Yeah,
concept,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
fine. You just gave
yes,
a more elaborate explanation, which is fine with me. I understood
yeah,
it, but that's pretty much it.
yeah.
A lot of
More
people,
emotional driven
yeah,
is
more emotionally
reaction.
driven, which I'm like
Yeah.
the opposite. I'm more of a logical person over an
Mm,
emotional person, and
yeah.
then I kind of see it as also like a maturity level as well. Like
I like that.
the more mature you are, more you're gonna have a rational sense of things. Where it's like, a father typically will have a more rational sense than a irrational sense. They'll see if the child and the child's acting up, he's gonna be like, "Come on, smart enough."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walk them through, grab them by the hand, say, "Why are
Yes.
we yelling?
Exactly.
Why are we shouting?" I completely agree, yeah. More emotional, reactions are more emotional, responsive is more in tune or, attune, whatever the proper wording would be, but yeah, I think that's more growth driven is responding.
yeah.
Mm, good.
All right. So, a couple things in chat.
Hmm.
Yes.
Peaches, it's hard to not react when you have PTSD.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I seen somebody that actually deals with that a lot. I don't track what you're saying. So, can you give more context, more explanation to that, please? And then she said, if the person does something that triggers you, then that is hard for some people to handle. That okay.
That I get.
Now with that, I understand that more, but it all goes into each person's coping mechanisms and their own mannerisms. Because some people work on it, some people actually, deal with it different ways.
Hmm.
Like some people it's loud noises, some people it's certain situations they're in, they find themselves in, and some people it can go back to the trauma of like certain words that trigger them. So it just matters if they did the work a little bit, like to get themselves capable
Yeah,
to deal with
that's
society
the
and how they
thing.
are.
Hmm.
And then it matters also, you know, their own willpower on that too, because they have to have some sort of willpower to not let somebody else trigger
Hmm.
them or react to them.
Yeah, it's different like thresholds and like their mindsets basically. Everyone's unique in their own way, so they have to deal with it in certain different ways. But there are hopefully there are ways to cope with that too. You know, somehow some way that person is going to be able to find a way to help themselves not to be triggered.
Yeah, it kind of goes into that victim complex a little bit there. The ones that always get triggered all the time. Woe is me, everything like that, but they don't do anything to fix it for themselves a little bit there. And that's one of those things that I can't stand. Um, but yeah. Uh, but yeah. Y'all got anything else to add on that?
I think that trauma and depression are two very beautiful things. I think those things lead to ultimate change and harmony and peace if you allow it to. Um, because the way that I look at life is we live in a world of polarity. You'll never be able to get away from negative or positive because the world we live on is negative and positive, north and south pole, magnetic, up and down, in and out, wrong, right, black, white, so many things. So I believe that those things can lead you to a place where you
Hmm.
discover balance. And that's why I've always believed that through balance, you can overcome any challenge. But the road to get there is where most people just deter off of or they give up because it gets too tough, too dark, too scary. And you know, if are you going to hold on to the same thing that's bringing you down and making you feel targeted for the next 40, 50, 60 years? Or are you going to be uncomfortable for maybe a few weeks, a few months, a few years working through it? That way you free yourself for the next 40, 50, 60 years. If you're gonna be here, that is. Obviously, we don't know, but that's the way that I look at the trauma, PTSD,
Hmm.
depression. Um, but yeah, I think it can lead to a harmonious place within oneself. Very
Yeah.
beautiful, actually.
I agree. Hardships
Okay.
can bring about good times, or good life.
But yeah, man, I made it through depression, very deep, dark depression where I wanted to end my life. I've been through the darkest of dark times, and it also unlocked something new in me that I never knew existed, and that was the feeling of true peace, the
Mm.
feeling of true love, the feeling of true just calmness,
Mm.
just true inner
Yeah.
light. And if it weren't for all that stuff, if it weren't for heartbreak, if it weren't for all that, you would never be molded into the beautiful person that you are capable of becoming.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Also, good words, Maddie. Very
Thanks.
good, beautiful words. Um,
Thanks.
explore verbal and nonverbal and written communication essentials. How does active listening enhance communication and build stronger relationships? This is two parts, by the way.
Okay.
So, on your way, explain, verbal, nonverbal, and written communication and see the essentials that needed for you to get a fine idea of what they're trying to say. What do you need?
Oh man, you need the detail. I think you need the more detailed it is, the more clear it is. Clarity is everything.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, I think clarity is number one. If you don't understand something, if the message seems a little bit, crowded or clouded, I say maybe ask a question like, "What do you mean?" I'm trying to understand what you're saying to me. I want to understand it to the best of my ability, but I'm really not understanding the way that you wrote it. Could you possibly word it differently?
Hmm.
Um, I think that to me opens a good communication flow because maybe they're like, a lot of people are just we're conditional a lot of things that we do are just conditional. They're habits. They're habit forms, habit forming. So we may not know that we're doing anything wrong until someone says, "Hey, that's you ever notice that you say this or do this all the time?" And it's like, "No, actually, I had no idea. Like, no one's ever told me that. Thank you." I think the same goes for communication. As that's for verbal. I think verbal and nonverbal kind of the same way, but like, I can't have a conversation through text that needs to be done through speaking. Um, I get that a lot of people prefer the nonverbal because they're afraid to upset someone or like deal with the repercussions of actions in real time, I
Confrontation.
guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
confrontation. They kind of they kind of feel a little challenged like I don't
Hmm.
know about this. They may say some things they may regret, I don't know, sort of thing, but I don't know. Nonverbal to me is more difficult than verbal,
I agree.
There's there
100%.
like it comes
Especially
back to
texting.
clarity, right? There's too much because not only are you reading the message, but I could text you like, "Hey, we need to talk." Like the dreaded, "Hey, we need to talk" text from your girl significant other. Immediately you're gonna be like,
What did I do?
"Oh my god, like what happened? Like what did I do 3 weeks, 4 hours and 2 minutes ago? Like did I say this wrong?" And then you come to find out it was just like, "Oh, I was just wondering what you wanted to eat later
Mm,
on for dinner." And you just so now you're involving your lowest level energy into something that you don't know, which shows that you still have a lot of areas within yourself that you need to heal. And that to me is kind of all comes back into self. So, um, I know that kind of skewed off topic a little bit, but
I hear you.
that's kind of my verbal, nonverbal communication answer for whoever that was for.
I agree, 100%. Like you were saying, like the nonverbal side of things. Like example, a text when someone says, "You don't know
Yeah,
what K what
right.
are you mad at me now?
What is
K?
K? What
Fucking
K, are
is
you
God,
mad
K?
at
I
me?
hate that.
Or
Yeah,
are
Oh,
you just just saying it fast so you can get it over with?"
oh,
yeah,
hold on.
There's a lot of like variations it can go off to. It'd be like emotionally driven, just you don't care, you're angry, so you don't know, you can't see the emotion behind the word.
yeah.
So happened the other day, and she's looking because she knows what I'm talking about. She said something to me. I said, okay. And she just K's me. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean just K?
That's so
I'm just
funny.
like, I'm
Yeah,
like, I started typing too. I was like, what the? And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna back away.
yeah, that's
I'm gonna back away.
a past relationship. That's what I dealt with, and I can never tell.
Oh, that
I'm
is
talking
so
about
funny.
yesterday, not a couple weeks ago. Yesterday, you just K'd my ass. So yeah.
But
That is so funny.
But as
But
she
you're
said in the
right.
chat too, Scode Satan, boss lady's her name in this chat, but
Yes.
in Twitch it's Scode Satan. But anyways, do actions then not speak louder than words. I think it kind of goes in like a two-part kind of thing. So like you say
Yeah.
the expression and then you do the action to prove
Mm,
that you're more than your action does speak louder than words. Because you can be
yeah.
like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then you'll be like, yeah, sure you are. Then you actually do it, and they're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
so you actually did it. It's a twofer because
Yeah.
like usually it's louder. Actions do speak louder than words.
Yeah, and sometimes silence, I think, speaks louder than
That's true
both.
too. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Sometimes your absence from someone's life or a situation almost impacts more than what you could say, you know?
Yeah.
So,
That's very true.
no, it could go either way. I agree
Yeah.
though for sure because actions and words are so powerful.
Hmm.
They're so powerful. I don't know which one. I mean, action obviously produces things. Words also produce things. So I really don't know which one would even be more.
Yeah, that's
It'd
what
be
I kind of.
probably action at the end of the day. I guess if we're saying it, but speech still
Mhm.
has a very very powerful impact on
It could
things.
be motivating. It could be what you needed to actually do the action.
What do they
Someone.
say? The life and death is in the power of the tongue. Yeah, I believe in that. Yeah, but if you can match it with some action, then imagine what you can accomplish and imagine what you can destroy. You
Yeah.
know, both ways.
Mm.
Yeah. Ah, that smile. But yeah. So, how does active listening enhance communication and build stronger relationships?
That's a good question. Active listening. What was it? How does active listening build relationships? And what was the other part?
Enhance communication and build stronger relationships.
Mm.
I think realistically, it comes back down to the person listening and how they feel about what they're hearing
Hmm.
from someone else. Because listen, man, there's a lot that can be learned about oneself from how someone says something to you and how it makes you feel. So I think that can unlock a new level of understanding and clarity and peace within somebody listening. But also, like I said, listen first, understand second, and then respond third. So I think all the way through, it really helps. And if you're really listening, if you're really engaged, like you can feel when someone's really listening to you, when someone wants to hear what you're saying, when someone wants to interact. And that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I, I think that answers the question.
Yeah, I think it does. It was pretty good.
That's how I feel anyways. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's just
you
my
can.
perspective.
Yeah,
Hey,
I agree.
that's all that matters right now because we're trying to dig into you.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
that's where I stand on that, you know. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful, I think, a lot for growth of self. Not to always bring it back to the person, like not as not as an ego thing or like it's all about me thing, but you can learn a lot from just listening to other people.
Yeah, it can also go like almost like the opposite direction too. So like example, I'm gonna call myself out on this. When I play
Ooh,
games, I get locked into the game. So
yeah.
people will be talking to me, and I'll kind of hear the conversation,
Mhm.
and a lot of times it'd be like Raider, he'll be talking to me, and I'll kind of half hear it, and then boss lady will be like, "Hey," I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, so it's like, and then and for them, they know I'm just playing the game and they'll just repeat what they said and I'll listen in on it that time.
Mhm.
But for someone else that may not know me, they might be put off by that. They might be like, all right, this person's not interested. I'm not going to talk to them as much or not talk to them anymore. So it could kind of go like the opposite direction.
Guess like read the whatever the environment is, you know,
Yeah.
like if we're just talking conversation wise, like just having a convo about something, you know, that's one thing. But I think if you're doing something that already takes your focus, you know, like any game you play, your focus is more on the game than the people you're on there with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you listen to certain things at certain times when you need to listen a little more, like play Warzone or something like, you know, oh, he's a top floor, you know, right. Like
Yeah.
I'm listening to
hmm
that. But for the regular conversations, like I'll naturally tune it out too a lot of times. You know what I mean? But I think it just depends on the setting. But that's gotta be normal, right?
I got a pin. I got a pin right now because here it is, Savage. You'll be talking to us,
Mm,
full out conversation with us,
mm.
and the moment it's like mid sentence, you get locked into your game, and then I'm just like, "Hello, you get disconnected." His fiance looks at us and she's like, "Oh, he's playing his games." Like, yo, dude, you didn't finish your goddamn sentence, and that's one of my pet peeves. Like when somebody starts something and don't finish it, it's just like it's like this itch you can't scratch. Like just finish the word at least minimum.
Yeah.
Just finish the fucking word.
Yeah.
Look, do as I say, not as I do. That's how it works. Okay.
Yeah, that's funny
Yeah,
Yeah.
though.
it
I
is
think
funny.
we all have that. I think we all have a little bit of that in us, depending on the situation.
Yeah. All right. So techniques to improve communication. Learning to paraphrase, eye contact, and avoiding interruptions during the communication. How do you do that?
Mm.
I think discipline. Think just discipline, right? Yeah, really. At first, it can be very challenging, and I used to be the worst with it. I used to interrupt people, or cut them off towards the end of what they were saying a lot, and I think it's not that you're discrediting what someone else has to say, but I think it's just like you want to interact so much, so bad in the conversation that
Yep,
you think
I've done
that
that.
oh yeah, like oh, if I don't say something right now and get it out how I feel, like I might not say it again, and it's like well, just let it breathe for another 5 seconds and, you know, maybe you'll say the same thing you wanted to say. So I think it's just discipline, you know, work like anything. You just put the work in, discipline yourself, because you can always you can kind of always get a feel of what you're going to do before you do it. You know what I mean? Unless it's like
Yeah.
one of those fight or flight moments. But overall, I think a lot of people they struggle with disciplining their actions. I call it like parenting themselves, right? Like putting yourself in timeout. Don't do that, Matthew. Like stop cutting people off. You know, stop doing that. Stop saying that. I think it's just discipline, really.
Yeah. Plus, sometimes people might like forget what they're going to say. You get into that conversation,
Yeah.
and then the conversation keeps going. You're not able to put in the words you want to say, and then you forget it, and then you're like, now it's going to bother you because now you don't remember what you wanted to say, but you knew it was relevant to the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's challenging for sure. That can be because like if someone, you know, if you ask somebody a question and they give you a very long answer, like I have a tendency to give very long-winded answers on things. Um you can come up with a lot of moments where you're like, "Oh, I wanna write this down because I wanna ask about this or that or the other thing," and it's like, then you focus so much on that one question that you don't fully hear, like, the rest of something, like, that
Yeah.
happens to me too, sometimes, but I think like anything, repetitiveness, discipline,
Hmm.
and, just making a valiant effort to try to be better is more than enough, and maybe we'll bridge the gap from where you are to where closer to where you wanna be.
This one's going to hit some people because it's the way I worded it. But let's be honest. When I write stuff, it's just one of those things. What role does emotional intelligence play in improving communication skills?
Mm, emotional
Massive.
intelligence.
Yeah, massive one. I
Hmm.
I mean, like, it comes back to what we first talked about, right?
Hmm.
Um, listening first, understanding second, responding third, and not getting triggered, and if you are getting triggered, it kinda can lead down the path of, "Why did this upset me so much?" You know? "Why did this random comment on my video of this person I've never met hit me so much and make me so mad?" You know what I mean? Like, emotional intelligence is working through that confusion, getting, those deeper levels of yourself healed, releasing them, letting them go, and then that will enhance, I believe, more effective communication. And emotional intelligence is, to me, just getting to understand yourself a little bit better and reacting less.
Okay. Savage.
Mm, same thing, basically. Mhm. Well, you know me, I'm more of a logical person rather than an emotional person, so I agree with Matty Pace and that kind of concept, you know. Um, and it depends on like the topic at hand too. You know, some things are
Mm,
more emotionally driven. Again, going back to like the political aspect of things, I don't like to bring that stuff up off like I'm a very political person off Twitch and off like that kind of field. I like to when I'm off of that platform, the political side, I like to just enjoy myself. But for this example, I'll bring it up just because it is a very emotional place to be on both ends of the field, Democrat, Republican, whatever in the middle. Both sides are emotionally driven and they attack each other, and so you're never able to get like the middle ground and have a conversation because it's always just so emotionally driven. Um, whereas I wish it was more of a logical, you know, response instead. But that's just one small example of that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I pretty much agree with Matty Pace there. So,
So we're going to backtrack a little bit, just a second, just to show off this question.
okay.
You can talk blue in the face, but people just believe what they have already came to their own conclusions. This is where, in my opinion, I'm going to answer this on my own way. This is where your communication skills come into play and how you navigate and maneuver other people,
Mm,
especially when it's something that's detrimental. You got to figure out how to get that line, get them across that line, and understand your standpoint, and get them to that point where they'll be open. I suggest to everybody, honestly, to learn this technique called elicitation.
mm,
It's one of those things that helps learn how to get people's guards down and verbal communication, everything like that. But learn that. You can look up on YouTube to learn the basis, but it's one of those things I'd say do that. And when you have a conversation with somebody and it comes to like one of the things they need to understand is to do that so you can get their guard open and go ahead and move through that.
that's cool. I haven't heard that before. That sounds awesome.
yeah.
It's a fun thing.
Yeah, I guess it goes to show, like, your strength of character too, like, being able to bring someone back in who's kind of leaving, in a sense,
Yeah.
but you're able to kinda, like, rope them back, "Come here, it's gonna be okay," you know?
Savage, do you have any questions you want to shoot off the back right now or no?
I'm trying to think. What do you like most about when you do your motivational stuff like throughout like the week and your streams? What gives you like inspiration each week to do it? Keep going, really. Like,
And it's just who I am,
hmm
it's just who I am, it's who I've been. I feel like it's, part of my calling as being this person, as Matty Pace. I think that it's just part of who I am. It's always who I've been. I've always had a knack to want to see people smile and feel positive, feel better about themselves and in their life. And That's what I love most about it, is just the creative process of it. It's not so much the outcomes, because I can't control that. I just focus on what I can do. And when I'm creating that motivation, it comes from a place of being in a flow state. And that to me is like getting, the direct nectar from the source, in a sense. When you get someone comment in a channel that said, "Wow, you have no idea how much I needed to hear that." It's like, I don't have any idea that you needed to hear something that came out of my mouth, but maybe something beyond this physical form knew. And now that your attention was locked in on me, it decided to use me as a
Medium.
catalyst, or
Mm,
yeah, a medium. And you know, there's your sign, or there's your message. I
nice.
Yeah, that's kind of just how I love it. I love the creative process of it rather than the outcomes, but the outcomes are very sweet.
That's a good outlook to have too. I like that.
Yeah, you gotta love what you do, right? You gotta
Yeah,
love what you
exactly.
create. If you're not loving what you're creating, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Yeah, that's all you got right now.
Currently, yeah.
All right. So we all do a curveball, and
Throw
usually
it.
wait till the end. I said shake it up and let's do now. Maddie, do you have questions for me?
Mm.
I do. I have a question. So you said you're in the military. You're a
Yes,
veteran.
sir. Yep.
Um, how has streaming helped you since being out of the military with your day to day life?
Mm.
Oh, okay. A lot of people are gonna like this.
Has it hurt you in any way?
Mm.
Both sides of the coin.
The benefit of it, like since I've been out, it hasn't really, not in that mindset. Like I said, a lot of people aren't gonna like it. It hasn't.
Interesting.
For not for something like that. Because it's still not as one structured, ordered, or chaotic all at the same time. So that's the reason why. But the downside of it is kind of what kind of makes it a little bit more worth it, because I like proving people wrong. I like being able to get through these goals, everything like that. Like I
Mm.
flipped out in Discord a week or so ago, and I was like, "What the fuck? Where do these fucking people come from?" And I was like, "Okay, cool. It's not a big deal." I look at my goal stuff. I was like, "I'm past my goals. I'll set another goal." And the next day, it's happened again. I was like, who who are these people?
Mm.
So it's just like one of those things. I do enjoy it to a certain extent, but at the same time, it's one of those things I'm just like, I can live without it, like the streaming portion of it. And but I do enjoy it to a certain extent though.
So what keeps you wanting to be active on the platform? Because you're in a lot of chats. You're very proactive outside of those chats when people aren't live. You're
Mhm.
in Discord. I see you posting. I see you wishing people well, interacting. So that looks like there's something deeper to me that you really enjoy about it. Um, how has that impacted you? What makes you want to be more active in people's lives
Uh,
that you've met through the platform?
so we talked about this. I think was the last podcast or podcast before last.
Mm.
I genuinely enjoy helping people.
I love that.
It's a people pleaser.
No, not even people
That's
pleaser wise.
different. That's
Not
different.
that
No, no.
standpoint. It's
We
just
had a
well,
conversation about that before.
yeah, it's one of those things that I love helping other people get to where they need to go. Like they need help with OBS, they need help with trying to figure out how to get from starting out to affiliate. I look at them like, well, you structure this plan, do this, and be consistent here and here and here, and you'll figure out how to do it. And they're like, okay, cool. And then get affiliate, and they're like, hey, I mean, I just want to say thank you. So don't do that. Don't thank me, okay?
I know how you feel
And
about accepting compliments from people.
yeah,
He's not
I'm
good at
not
it.
very good at it.
No, he's not.
Praise is not one of those things that drive me. You know,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things that throws me off though a lot, especially when certain people that don't do that very often do it. It completely throws off my whole day. I'm just like, are you dying?
That's funny.
But yeah, but on the other aspect of it, not putting the military aspect into Twitch for just myself in
Mm,
general, I enjoy doing it. I love doing my feral streams, which lets people get out their toxic energy, everything like that. They get to talk shit. They get to fucking do every fucking aspect of like whatever, as long as they stay within TOS. It's like, tell them, like, let's stay within TOS. You say whatever the fuck you want.
Mm-hmm.
Roast me, roast each other. Just have fun and let it out before you go back to work tomorrow.
mm.
You know?
Release.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, a little
Simple
release.
release.
Yeah, that's cool. What
Yeah.
about you, Mr. Savage?
Mm. What about me, huh?
Yeah, what about you?
Why do I stream? Why
What drove you to this digital world and to
this
continue
digital?
to do it how you do it? You know, what's your why? And
What's my why?
how is understanding your why created your how?
It's been a journey for me. Originally, I started off only because when I played video games when I was really young, I knew I had a talent for it. I was good at it. You know, Call of Duty 4 was like my first online game, and I was like destroying lobbies, 32 and 6, whatever. You know, doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then playing games, people would tell me like, "Oh, you have a good voice. You should probably do like streaming and stuff." I was like, "Okay." So I gave it a try, and for the first 2 years, I didn't really like. I wasn't super like invested in it, but I would start up a stream and play and get some people here and there. Not until like a couple of years ago that I really start really putting more passion into it, and I like to do it just for fun, just to connect to people, get to know people, and I've got to my fiance, his boss lady. I've got to know her through Raider. So I met Raider through Mr. Wagbag, and so on, so on. So it was like a big like web, just from starting off a small thing, and it kind of spread out. And it's cool because it's just a nice journey to go on, and you don't know where it's going to take you. So it's cool, and I think it was just really just to have fun and just meet new people. So I just keep it going, and it's always nice to see and meet new people. Like I'm happy to met you, One Love, people like that. I know I never would have
Likewise.
met. I
Yeah,
never would have met you guys if I haven't started just streaming. So that's pretty much why I do it, just for fun and just to meet people.
I love that. All walks of life, and to me that's beautiful. Just because you do it because you just like to meet people, and it's for fun, and it's so wild, like you said, that connected web of how one person leads to another five to another 10, and then
Yeah.
before you know it, you're just in discords until 2 a.m. having conversations, and you're wondering how the heck did I get here?
Yep.
Right? Like
Exactly.
where I
That's
was a year ago was totally different than where I am now, sort of thing. You're like, what am I doing?
yeah, that's yeah. I
I
Yeah,
mean,
did
he
not
didn't.
say that
wait,
because I knew
wait,
that. I just said it
wait,
because
wait.
I swear I did not see that. I'm not lurking and stalking. That's my own
Chocolate
life.
alert.
Yeah,
Technically,
yeah. Right? My first year to 2 years, it was that all the time, and I know it gets addicting, the interaction.
so I don't consider that stalking since it's open. We're in an open chat for a
Yeah,
reason.
no, of
So
course,
anybody
yeah.
can see it.
Yeah, you're not
But yeah,
incognito. Yeah, I know.
exactly.
I feel you. Just messing.
Let's do this one because I've had to deal with this in the military and out now, and I see you doing it yourself.
Mm,
How do leaders communicate and inspire, delegate, and unite teams? In
mm,
your opinion?
Man, yeah, I always say this to any streamer out there, it's when you're live, you're the captain of the ship.
it's true.
You don't let other people control what you do. You don't let other people control the energy in the room. You don't let other people control anything that you do while you are the captain in that moment. Not to say that everything I say is right and you're wrong, but I think that you got to remember, why am I doing this? And then captains are up here. People that clean the bathrooms are down here for a reason. Their set of skills, their set of habits, their mindset.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, I think that right there. The more that you get to know yourself too is what causes a great leader, I feel. The more calm you are, the more collected you are,
Yeah.
you know.
Savage.
I agree wholeheartedly. Like you said, like, captain up top, crewmen at the bottom, they're different, like, they're on
Yes.
a different, like, journey, progress in that journey. So you're high up in that journey, so the people at the down low still have to learn, and what's better to learn than from someone else that's actually succeeding? So you look up to you for inspiration. So it's always nice, and especially when what brings people together most often is obviously positivity, love and communication,
Unity,
everyone,
unity. Yeah.
unity. Yeah, unity, good word for that. When you go into someone's chat like yours, for example, it's always positive and everyone's having a blast hanging out or listening to you, freestyle some things or doing whatever else you're talking about at the time. And it's always nice to see that. And through that, people actually have a smaller conversation within your chat with each other, and then
Yeah.
they make bonds, they make friendships. So it's always nice. And at that moment, like you said, you're the captain, so you're kind of leading in a sense your flock to a higher,
Yeah.
like, better life.
Yeah. What do you think, Raider? You look like you have to get something off
So,
your chest.
so I was taught by an old master chief, and he said it's not about hammering everything into everybody. It's about teaching them to lead and teaching them to think for themselves and teaching them to progress on their own. Because more people will be more efficient if they want to do what they're supposed to do than when they're told to. That's where a lot of companies and corporations fail because they think we can hammer them like this. You have to do this, 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 this. You give them an environment to thrive and to actually get their work done in an adequate amount of time, and don't harp on every little small detail
Mm.
and just overlook and say, hey, can you just fix that and stuff like that. Then they tend to want to come back to work because everybody has these horror stories of a bad boss.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Everyone has one.
Everyone. Yeah,
Everyone.
everyone.
Yeah.
So and they have the horrors and they have the great stories of, like, I wish my one boss could have been the boss of every single place I ever worked at.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I had an old senior chief. He took everything personally, and he helped get me through a lot of tough situations I was dealing with, and made sure that if I needed anything, he's like, I have an open door policy for a reason. It's like, yeah, senior, we don't do that.
Mm.
You're senior chief. We don't do that here. He's like, I do.
I
And
like that.
so I went in there one day. He's like, all right, what's up? And he's like, I said, I have this, this, this. I don't know what to do with it. I just need your advice. He's like, what do you want to do? He's like, well, I want to do this one, but I don't have the experience for this. I don't have, all the correct for this. And he says, well, what can I do to get you to that point so you do have them? I was like, well, I need time off for this to go to this course. I need time off for this to do this course. He's like, cool, email it to me. He's like, are you are you are you sure? He's like,
Undeal.
he's like, yeah. I was like, I'll tell everybody else. Don't worry about it. Just let me know. I was like, okay. Best senior chief I've ever had. Best personal leadership role I've ever had. And when it came to, like, having your back,
Mm.
was always had your back. And even when you were in the wrong, had your back. Then he pulled you aside. It's like, what the fuck you do that for? And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well,
Mm-hmm.
this happened. And he's like, don't ever do that again. It's like, gotcha. So, he's stern, fair, and very, very, very much part of the team. He liked building a team that can work themselves.
I like that a lot. He sounded like just a very relatable person. Like even though he had the classification of Master Chief, like didn't feel like, oh man, I gotta walk on eggshells when this dude comes around. It was more like you obviously have to show a certain level of respect, but
Yeah.
just having that open line of communication with him sounded incredible. And that, like you said, that dude sounds like he summed up the answer to your question better than I did. I think someone that can just, genuinely connect with the people in the room,
Mm.
lead through example as well. Leading through example is key because a lot more people, they pay attention to what you do more than a lot of times what you say.
Yeah.
I've found anyways. So it's like growing up, like monkey see, monkey do type thing, right? Like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You know, these things have been around forever, and I think that helps, like you said, create a real good master chief or a real good leader of anything.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to what Maddie has been known for:
Mm.
living positively,
Ooh,
Okay.
living life positively.
oh Lord.
All right, so Savage, we're going to start with you first
Okay.
because Maddie does this every day. So let's see you. What does it mean to live positively, and why is it important in today's world?
Mm. To live
Mm,
positive. Count your blessings, really. That's how I see life day to day. You know, I got a roof over my head. I got a bed to sleep in. I got food in the fridge. I'm happy. Um, and I feel blessed in that sense, you know. And I try to keep my mindset even like on bad days, because everyone has bad days. You know, everyone's going to have a bad day, regardless of, like you said earlier in the stream, we're all going to have those hardships every so often. But it's how you deal with it. You know, you got to take the situation as it is and then try to reverse it into a positive thing. And it's not always going to be right away. You're going to have to deal with it, and then you're going to have to, it's going to be like a process, you know? You're going to start from 0% all the way to 100%. And at the end, once you reach the 100%, that's where the positive comes out. So you take like you take a rock and you turn it into a diamond. You know,
mm,
you gotta work hard on it, but eventually it's going to come out to be something beautiful. Um, for me, when I see things that happen, you know, because even at work, you know, when I went to that Lake Winnipesaukee house,
yes.
beautiful house, and we're carrying the cabinets they made. They made them so it was really hard to bring them upstairs. So we ended up in a situation where it was either multiple of us getting hurt carrying the cabinet upstairs or hitting the wall. So this is the first time we actually ever damaged something in the house. Now everyone's flustered, everyone's angry, but we had a decision to make. And, you know, at first we're all upset, we're annoyed. It's going to bring the mood down. We're all kind of negative. But then I decided, let's just deal with it. And I know I talked to the boss, told him what happened, and turned the emotion around. They said, all right, we know what happens, but at the end of the day, there was nothing to be done. We had two options: is either hurt ourselves, which no one wants, or hurt a wall that can be fixed. So in that small situation, because it's not at the end of the world kind of thing, you still had to really decide to let it bring you down and stay negative, or to just see how it is the situation is and work on it and turn it around. Um, so yeah, again, it's all dependent on each person individually, how you deal with it and what you think you know life experiences, all those kinds of things can add up to how your mindset is. So it's up to you really how to, kind of hard to explain, but like I said, life experiences in general can put your mindset in how you see the world, and you can see it in a negative way and you can see it a positive way. And if you always had a negative experience in life, you're not going to see a positive outcome. But at the end of the day, you can always. It's kind of hard to explain. I'm kind of going off topic too. It's because it is such an interesting topic to think about, but there's a lot of individuality to it, really, I think. So each person
To being positive, to staying
yeah,
positive.
staying positive to becoming or taking something and changing it into a positive outlook. So it's kind of hard to explain, but for me personally, um, I'm just more of a logical person, so I'd like to not stay in the negative mindset. I like to keep in a positive mindset and push through it. I'm stubborn and don't give up. That's one of the things I could say really. So try to not give up. I guess we can bring it to that.
I like that.
All right, Maddie, what does it mean to live
Yes.
positively, and why is it important in today's world?
I think what it means to live positively is not, waking up every day, portraying that you're, pissing sunshine and shit and rainbows. I think that's a very unrealistic thing, but I will say staying positive really is a choice, just like staying negative.
Hmm.
And to me, positive and negative work well together because without them coming in perfect harmony and balance, we wouldn't have electricity. We wouldn't be alive. You yourself wouldn't be walking around proton, neutron. I mean, it's down into our DNA, but where you put your attention is where your energy is going to go. And where that goes, you're going to see it grow and amplify. So, whatever you're putting your attention on, you better make sure that it's something that's beneficial for your life or someone else's, because if it's not, it's going to work against you in the long run. You know, one bad day of one having one bad attitude of a day could send you back 5, 10 years in what you're doing. You know, it only takes one moment. So I think it's really essential to just, like you said, keep a positive outlook on things, because realistically they take the same amount of energy. It takes the same amount of energy to be positive as it does negative. One has better outcomes, the other one has bad outcomes. So why not focus on the one that holds better and what more of what you want or are looking for. And even if it doesn't work out the way you want or anticipated, wouldn't it feel better feeling good about thinking that it's going to work out rather than waking up every day disheveled and distressed and anxiety driven, and just completely robbing yourself of living in a good moment and having a great day, enjoying the sunshine, the fresh air, going outside and doing something you love. So that's kind of where my head's at, because even if you fail forward. That to me is failing forward and learning and growing, and it's a part of life. So um, being positive, like I said, that's a decision. And in turn, the more you do that, I believe has a positive impact on the world and the people around you.
I like that.
Yeah. Only negative people want to be around negative people.
That's true. That's very true.
You know, only people with poor habits are surrounded by people with poor habits. You're not going to see a millionaire hanging out with somebody who's poor on the street. You know what I'm saying? Not to bring classification into it or anything. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying, but as a way
Yeah.
to kind of pivot the point, there's certain classes of how people carry themselves. I'm not going to hang around myself with negative people,
Yeah, because it's
miserable
just gonna bring you
people.
down. Yep.
Yeah, and I couldn't care less. Like, a lot of people that are negative, they create the negativity in their life, and they're unwilling to accept accountability that they are the problem, and also they are the solution.
Mm.
But they choose to value problems and act confused as to why they are where they are, knowing damn well they know why they are where they are. They're just refusing to put in the work because they're upset that they let themselves get to that point. It's like, to me, it's cut and dry, but when you do that work, you start to realize things differently and look at life differently. So that's, to me, is how positivity impacts the world, and making that choice.
Okay. So mine's a little different.
I like that.
Um, I do try to be positive, and try to see the best in everything. Um, but I've been through too much things and seen too much shit in the world.
Mm.
Um, so I know not everything's gonna be fucking good. So I just know, like, cool, I have to deal with it. I do overreact, and I do let it get to me. I take on people's personal struggles too.
Mhm.
But that's why I have Boss Lady, because she will literally tell me, she's like, I'll fucking fly down there and slap the shit out of you.
Love
You
you,
know,
boss lady.
and it's one of those things, and I'm just like, you're right. She's like, I'm gonna fuck off right now. It's like, okay. So sometimes you need to keep yourself in a better light, better mood, because some people don't realize that you need to distance yourself from the negativity,
Mhm.
even though you're trying to be helpful to them and trying to get them to the best spot that they can be in. And that's my own problems, because I see people's potential,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like they can be so much greater and so much better off if they just did this one pivot. And it goes back to like some kind of instinct in me. It's just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna guide them there.
Mhm.
And then it comes to codependency, though.
Where, like, they
So
get reliant
yeah,
on you.
yes,
Yeah.
they get reliant on me, and then in return, it's like I feel very better for helping them with other stuff, but it's
Mm.
like I don't realize that they're getting codependent. So, until like it's 2 weeks later, I was like, why are they messaging me about this? Like, they can Google this.
I feel
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm. I kind of
go
get
ahead.
that. I was just gonna say, like, I kind of, like you said, you've witnessed the things that most people haven't. You know, you've been in the military, you've done some things, you've seen some things. And as a saying I've heard before, is like the worst day that happened to you is the worst day that happened to you. But that doesn't mean like that's the worst thing that's ever happened to anyone in the world. What
Mm,
might be
that's
consequentially
good.
really bad to you might have been the smallest thing that someone else wished happened to them instead. You know, when someone that's in a first world country and they like, you know, America, for example, you have a beautiful house, a beautiful, you know, wife, kids, and you're wealthy and you got all this stuff. And the worst thing is someone got your coffee wrong when you go out
Mm,
to buy coffee. Now,
yeah.
to someone else, like that may be homeless or something, to them that would be the best day of their life. Oh, your coffee got wrong? I don't have a home. I'm living on the street.
Yeah.
So the worst thing that happened to you could be not so bad to someone else, and they may have a more darker mindset than you do on what's positive and what's negative, you know. So it's like I said earlier, to kind of bring that back, is each person is unique in their own way because you've experienced things differently from others. For me, like when I was younger, I was bullied a lot, and I at first I just let it happen, and then as I grew older I got angry, so then I'd fight back against the bullies, and then I kind of like retreated my emotions. So now I don't have more of an emotional response. I have a more logical response. And with that, I have that mindset to just push through it. So I've learned that in the past where like my worst day was someone punching me. You know, to other people that might not be so bad. You know, there's things that can happen in this world that someone else wishes that was the worst thing. So for me, you know, I might think, okay, you know, just push through it. But some things you can't really just push through. Some things you have to deal with in a different way.
Like you said, perspective, right? Different strokes
Perspective.
for different folks, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very deep topic. It's a very deep question.
Mm-hmm.
I love both of your answers because they were both different, but they all kind of had the same foundation, like the same
Mm.
basis. You know what I mean? That's beautiful.
Okay. 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 Savage, shoot a question at them about living positively in life.
In life in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you at one point in your past job you decided to just go and veer off, right?
I was given kind of like I was at a fork in the road, and it was you have to do this one thing to keep this job
Mm-hmm.
and to keep what you have, knowing that you don't like you're grateful for it, but you don't.
Yeah.
It's not what you want.
Okay.
Or you can take the path less traveled, take a leap into the unknown, see what
Okay.
happens. Yeah.
So, but before that pitchfork,
Yes.
splitting the road, what was your positive mindset still as it is today before that moment, or did it kind of like evolved even greater when that happened?
Man, before that, I was making a lot of motivational content. Like I had
Yeah.
said, I created
Yep.
Maddie's Motivation for years. But
Yeah.
I think after that
Mhm.
point,
Mhm.
I had a very deep spiritual awakening that I never knew existed. I didn't really know what spirituality was in a sense. I've saw it through the eyes of how everyone sees like hippies and peace and love and all that. And I'm not
Yeah,
talking
man.
like I locked myself in a room, like I didn't, go on an ayahuasca retreat and like do all this stuff. I just, you know, I found, or I should say it found me, but Alan Watts content. If you know who Alan Watts is, he's a very famous philosopher of our time. And that kind of set me on the path of just, man, for the probably like the first month or so after leaving that job, I was completely detached from society, from the world. I just was not who you see me as today. And not for the worse. I was just, I guess you could
Exhausted.
say, yeah, I was exhausted and I was just taking in so much
Mhm.
that I had never heard before, so much enlightening information. And then I began reading books of that nature in a sense. And man, completely shifted my life to answer your question. So I used to be more oriented on motivation, like with subtle hints of enlightenment without really understanding what enlightenment was. I just
Mhm.
was in the moment writing those statuses or doing videos.
Mm.
but now it's been intentionally a little bit more spirituality, enlightening, harmonious, one with the
Mm.
universe, and a little less motivation, but still tying motivational encouragement in with it.
Okay, so it was definitely like a pivotal moment in your life. Like
Yeah.
it was like a book. It was like a new chapter that started.
Incredibly pivotal. Incredibly. Yeah.
Nice.
Just the way that I am, how I feel, and I'm just so much more present than I ever have been
Okay.
in the moment, you know?
All right. So we have a couple more, but we have some off the cuff questions
Oh,
first.
let them flow, baby.
Maddie,
Yes.
why are you so goddamn happy?
I've gotten this question so many times in my life. And I always respond with, why are other people so negative?
Mm, okay.
You know? So I guess it's kind of like a field your own answer for the question. I guess the best answer I could give is, it feels good to feel good. I feel better being happy than I do feeling miserable and feeling
Okay.
sad and feeling down. So I just like to feel better. I like to feel happy. I like to create better habits because they create a better life. And that's just like how I like to feel.
Okay. Now, so if you don't want to answer this, you can pass. But do you do things on the side like smoke weed or drink to kind of keep that energy flowing? Like, do you take
No,
any supplements of any
no.
kind that keep your? Because I know you're a healthy dude. You go to the gym, you do your
Yeah,
walks and stuff like that.
yeah,
That's actually shown in statistics to proven that going to the gym or just working out actually improves your mental clarity, your mental health in
yeah,
general. Positive
definitely.
body will definitely keep you positive in general.
Yeah, that's just like a benefit, right? It's like the icing on the cake, but it's not the cake itself, right? It's just a little something that tastes sweet. Yeah, I mean, sheesh, I don't really. So I used to years ago. I mean, I was smoking mad blunts, like L's to my face all the time, just all the time. But for years, I haven't. I haven't really
Okay.
smoked much for years. Like, every once in a great while I will. But I never have weed on me. I never smoke.
Okay.
Very rarely.
Interesting.
Yeah, even drinking recreationally, I I was doing that a little bit more, than I am now. I don't really drink too much now because since going to the gym a lot and having a better diet and all that, it's not lining up with like who I envision my most
Hmm.
successful self looks like.
Hmm.
So I believe in creating like who you see as your most successful, most high version. You create
Hmm.
that person in the present, and then eventually you'll meet what you're envisioning. So I have a drink here and there, but very few and far between. Like, I'm not out here getting rocked. I'm not, I used to have streams where on a Friday night I would pound like half bottle of bourbon, just go crazy, and I would regret it the next day. I'd feel like shit. But I love bourbon, don't get it twisted. I love bourbon and a good cigar. I love drinking, I love having fun, I love popping
Yeah. Yeah.
champagne. The problem is I let it get excessive sometimes when I do it. It's like when it hits your lips, it's like, ooh, and I'm not addicted by any means, but I also am like, yeah, I can have like another glass. I'm straight. And
Yeah.
you end up not being so straight after a while of saying that. So, um, yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, there it
Okay.
is.
Nice. All right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it.
I love bourbon though. I do love bourbon.
Do you find it hard to control your thoughts and combat the negative thoughts?
No, not as much. I think if we're talking before taking a leap of faith, then yeah, I would have some troubles, mediating how I feel, get emotionally invested to what I couldn't change, or why are things happening like this, turning yourself, I believe you said it very early on in the podcast about turning yourself into a victim.
Hmm.
Everyone has moments like that, but for
Hmm.
me nowadays, with how much work I've done and continue to do, and how much I've dug deeply into myself to let go of things that I harbored for years and years. I have vastly much less negative thoughts,
Hmm.
than I guess you could say I used to have many
Hmm.
years ago.
It's interesting.
Yeah, just because the more you grow as a person and an individual, you begin to see life differently, and that's kind of what it was for me and what it
Interesting.
has been. Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Do you find it hard to control your other emotions since you spend so much time being positive? And how does that affect your creativity?
What
Mm.
kind of emotions are we talking about?
Everything else but happy and joy.
Mm.
Um, do I find it hard? Yeah, I have moments where I do find it difficult, you know. I have moments still where I get caught up of being not where I anticipated or had hoped or thought and being where I am, which is still a high achievement for myself. But those those emotions and those thoughts, they linger a lot less. It's kind of like the last question where it used to bother me a lot more and now it just kind of, I don't want to say I'm numb to it, but I just have a better way of working through it. But there are some moments, don't let me fool you, where I feel very, ugh, you know what I mean? Like
Frustrated,
yeah,
angry.
of course. And when you get in that state, you start to make a pebble of a problem turn into a magnificent boulder. And, you're just compiling and compounding negatives at that point. And before you know it, what you started festering and feeling isn't even at the forefront of your mind. You're now
Mm.
thinking about something else that has been on your mind that's just been in the cage for a lot of years or a lot of weeks, and now it's finally coming out because you let all the other negatives come out and play. So now it wants to be a part of that. So um, I'll tell you, that's kind of where it's been for me over for a little while now.
Do you ever run out of social battery? And before you answer, I
I'm
never see
listening.
you in a VC ever. So
Not
I don't know.
anymore.
Yeah, I don't. So I'm like, I don't know if that one's going to hit or not because I don't see you actually malingering with everybody anymore.
Yeah. No, I used to a lot, a lot. Like I said at the beginning, for the first couple years of Twitch, it was a lot, and it's kind of funny because a little bit off topic, but I'm not going to sit on it for too long. Being socially active, having that social battery, being active in discords and all those things for hours and hours, and then waking up early the next day, doing it all over again, it catches up to you. And it caught up to me, and I just hit a wall where I just kind of crashed, and then it started to affect my personal relationships, my relationship with my wife, and just the amount of time that I was giving this thing that I love so much and want to see grow. And it was growing rapidly. um and then it just, I had to make a decision, right? I value her, I value more of what she was bringing into my life than what I was receiving through others, people, and the platform itself, even though I absolutely loved where I was. I felt incredible. Those
Okay.
Discord nights, I wouldn't trade for the world. The laughs, the memories, the moments, like all of it. So now back to your original question, it's not that my social battery wears out nowadays. It's that I'm more intentional with where I'm placing my time because I see the importance of where I place my time and my energy. And unfortunately, all those, the Discord moments there, a lot for me, anyways, is they just are distractions. They're distracting me, which is okay. Every now and again, it's cool, but I can't have that every day in my life, because I know where I want to go. I can see myself where I am, and that person that I see is not the person that's hanging out all day every day like I used to.
Yeah,
You know,
you don't have like the time, Time is limited.
it's like
So
I have the time, but I choose to use my time a little bit more
yeah,
wisely for
that's a good
for
way
where
to
I
put it.
want to, yeah, for where I want to be. But that's kind of why you don't see me hanging around in too many DCs. Every now and again, I'll jump in to some events or something. Like SB made it. He has shoot your shots on Wednesdays, and I'll pop in there on the dating game because I always used to do that every week, and it's fun. But very few and far between for things now. Get a little bit more dialed in with where you want to be. So that's how I structure my time.
Okay.
But I love
Okay.
those DC nights, baby. Those those
Yeah.
were litty. Those were litty. I'll tell you.
Oh, so everybody, if you haven't already followed Matty Pace or joined the Raids products, please do so. Like, subscribe, comment. Actually, comment because we like having a conversation. You
Yeah,
know
no hollow follows.
exactly. But yeah, we're going to show off a little bit of the merch store now.
Merchandise.
Yeah, the Join the Raid merch store.
Let's go.
You know,
I
it
love it.
It was done by a friend of mine. So, got the old Join the Raid logo. We'll see about updating that eventually.
But
The
yeah,
new logo are there. Got some shirts, got some koozies, got some stickers,
I love it.
It's
got a
nice.
mug.
Everything.
Yeah, I got the shirt.
Yeah.
Shirt's nice. I like it.
I got the shirt. Got some beanies for all you out there that like beanies.
Man,
Or
mad beanies.
toboggan, whatever you want to call it. Long sleeve sweatshirts,
I love it.
hoodies. Yeah, so we got it.
Beautiful. I love the logo. The logo is so clean.
It is very
Yeah.
clean.
It's
Ah.
fire.
But yeah. And now back to our regular scheduled programming.
Bring it back. It's fire though.
So, Mr. Savage,
Yes, sir.
would you say from the first time I met you to now you're more positive?
More positive. Through all the experiences, yeah. Not even just with you, but just like everyone in general. Like, so I was happy to have met you, and then obviously we've grown close over the years. You kind of went away for like a year or two, did your thing.
Yeah.
You had to do it. You had to do it. You were
Yeah.
dealing with some personal things, and you had to go on a journey. That's basically what it was. And now you've come back. You're refreshed. You're more positive than you have been before. That move was a big move for you, so it was good to see that. And for me personally, I'm more positive. Yeah, I definitely say I'm happier.
That's good. I'm really glad.
That's dope.
So I messaged your fiance the other day when you started opening up and talking to me more in our little log chat to talk back and forth about the podcast stuff. I was like, is he gonna die? He's like, no,
Yeah.
he's just warming up to you. I was like, okay, just making sure, because usually he
love
doesn't go
that.
this much detail with stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because when we do these podcast things, I usually go with like a brief like idea of what the topic is going to be about. But like coming into this podcast, I had no idea what the topic was going to be. I figured mostly about positivity and stuff, but I'm never in the knowing of what the actual questions are going to be. I just go with the flow kind of person.
I love that.
So so it's a natural like kind of natural response. You're getting, I'm not like, it's not scripted. You're not getting any of that kind of stuff. It's just whatever's off the top of my head at that moment. So it's when I go to like topics in Discord, it's usually, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm hooked into a game, so I'm not really able to like put it down and go over to Discord and do that, because like work all day, come home, I relax, and then when I have time, I come over to do that. I come over to do this. I'm looking at like 3 or 4 streams every 20 minutes. I'm all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So, but a lot of the times I do see like I should be more interactive on this Discord. I should be, more on the topics that are coming up, or just whatever's in at the moment, the topics of the podcast, whatever people are just talking in general in the general chat. So I try to be more active on that end.
Yeah. So, for myself, from when me and you first met to now, I am a hell of a lot more positive than I used to be. I used to hate my life. I used to have suicidal ideations. I used to go through the pace and everything like that. The only thing that made me happy at that point in time was my children.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then when I moved down here, I just had this like revival, like in just energy. Just wanted to dive headfirst back into doing this and just making it work. And it wasn't like, oh, let's just start up again. No, it was research, learn how to do this, learn how to do everything like that. What do I need to do? Who do I need to put in place? Where do I need to go? Who needs to actually be aware of this and see what's going? And a lot of those people fell off, but it's fine. I was like, cool, that's what I pictured, but we can always readjust, always pivot, always make everything work. And we did. And I found the people that, are rock solid, that are willing to do what needs to be done. So I was like, yeah. And I was like, I need somebody to contradict me. I was like, who in the hell can do that every day of the week? And then I was like, I looked over, I was like, oh, Mr. Satan. Yeah.
I love that.
And then, yeah, it's like we have respect for each other. And we don't care if we don't like each other's standpoints, and we keep it fair, honest.
Yep.
Well, mostly fair, but I'll say mostly fair. She don't play fair. That's all I'm saying. She don't play fair. So it's one of those things that keeps me on my toes all the time. So it keeps me honest every step of the way. And the moment I step out of line, she's like, "You're fucking up here. You're not doing that right. You make us look like this. You need to do this." Things like that. So yeah,
It's good to have someone to have a different perspective on the situation.
it's like
always
having a
good.
goddamn manager, a mom, and a wife in the same fucking person, man. Sometimes I'm just like, what the fuck?
I love that.
And that'll be my wife in a year.
Yeah, yeah,
W wifey.
yeah. But she
That's
likes
good
you more
though.
than me. She likes you more than me. There's a difference.
In many ways. In many
Yes,
ways.
exactly. In many ways. Take that how you want to.
Yes, we're leaving it open. That's
Yeah.
dope. I love that answer. I think I saw, didn't you make a post? Was it this past week? You made a post kind of diving into what is involved in doing this and business plans and all that. I feel like I remember reading that you put out.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I remember reading that. I was like, this is a really good post, you know?
Yeah, and that's one of those things of, I'm gonna just post it.
I love that.
And I'm just like, whatever, it's whatever. I'm just gonna post it. And it went solid, like cool, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Then I started getting hit up by people from my past. Not bad people or anything like that, but I asked Boss Lady, I asked her, like, why are they doing this? She gave me her reasoning. I'm not going to say it right now because there's an episode where we're going to say it out loud and it's going to be in your face.
Early sneak peek, baby.
Yeah. So, yeah. And it goes into one of our podcast topics too. But yeah, it's so it's about success. It's about finding yourself, and it's about coming up from the bottom and actually making to the point where you're on that starting line, and you see growth and you see things trending, you see everything working in your favor. So it's about something like that. And I'm just wondering, like, why are these people coming back out of the woodwork now?
Yeah.
They've been on my social media forever, and they had the opportunity to message me, but now they're doing it. It's a little weird. I'm a paranoid kind of person, so it's one of those things that throws me off.
Nah, you're not alone in that, dog, because a lot of times when people they paint a picture of how they think you are doing, and they follow what they think rather than what they actually know. So a lot of times people will hit people up that see them doing things, because I've gotten it in my podcast before I even started streaming, growing mad followers and things, and people are like, will hit me up out of the blue that never listen to an episode, never share an episode, never interact on a post. But now they have an event or they have something in their life, they have a business idea, they have something they're doing, and now they want to come on the show all of a sudden. They want to partake in it. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. So I give them an outrageous price, and I'm like, yeah, dude, you can definitely come on. I was like, it's gonna cost you at least $5,000 to come on as a guest. They're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, dude, you want to utilize over 100,000 followers. You want to utilize listeners. You want to utilize ad space. You want me to do all the editing, record it, and basically just have you talk.
Yeah.
That's going to cost you $5,000.
Yeah.
When someone sees, when someone sees that you're successul, they start to,
in their mind, everyone has different ideas of success, but to me, that's why people are hitting you up that you haven't heard from in however many years, like you were saying.
You're further into success than they are in their own personal life.
In their own mind.
In their mind, yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
what you might not see as successful yet, but you're getting there, that to them is like, wow, he's really up there. Maybe I can, I can coattail him. I can just coast amongst them and get to success without working for it.
Everyone applauses when you make it, but there's only one lonely clapper in the back of the room while you're trying to make it, right?
Yeah.
That was, I think, said by like Alex Hermosi, I want to say, in one of his videos that he made. But it's really good. Everyone will celebrate you and tell 100 stories of how they met you when, you blow up in the eyes of however many people that takes, but they were never there, part of the process. But now they want to be seen as someone who knows you.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
That's
that's kind of like, just to answer your question, like I feel that, I see that, and you're not wrong for being paranoid about that, but like I said, right? Trust your intuition. Vibes don't lie, people do.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah, some people do think they can really like play a fast Freddy on you, and it's like, dog, I don't know.
everybody remember our producer is in here. Y'all can't see her or hear her. She's making comments. That's who we're answering randomly.
Yeah,
We're not crazy
yeah,
yet.
facts.
I might be a little bit. It's all right.
A little
Maybe.
voice in my head, and it's awesome.
All right. Back to the topic. What are practical daily habits to foster a positive mindset? Maddie Pace.
Man, it's super simple. You're gonna call me crazy. Diet and nutrition. Step
Yeah.
one.
Mm.
Physical action, physical exercise. Doesn't have to be the gym. It can
Mhm.
be anything. It could be going out for a walk for 10 minutes in fresh air. It could be on a treadmill. It could be stretching, doing yoga, whatever floats your boat. Doing something physical. And then also moderating the content that you take in,
Mm. It's true.
and how much of it you take in, and for how long, how many moments of your day. Um, and try to take in more positive than you do negative, and stay hydrated as well. That over time will
Mhm.
naturally break you out of a lot of negative habits.
Mm.
There's even I'm reading a book right now called Power versus Force, and it's a bunch of studies done over the past 20 years in research of mental health, all walks of life, all classifications of people, from young to old. And they even said what treats depression, which I found fascinating, was diet, exercise, and taking medication as needed, but not
Mm.
abusing it.
Yep.
And doing the things that I said, just staying consistent with that, and that's gonna make you go from here to here in no time.
I can agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, if you do work out, if whether it's walking, whether it's walking up and down stairs in your apartment building for like 10 minutes, you're gonna see your body start changing over the next few weeks. The more consistent you are, you just make it a habit, and then before you know it, bang,
Mhm.
it's effortless. It's a part of your day. Everyone has 10 minutes in their day. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree, like you said, like getting even going out for like hikes. A good thing is get vitamin D, the sun.
Man,
That's a huge, huge
Mother
thing.
Nature, man. Mother
Yeah.
Nature, she nurtures. That's
Yeah.
where it comes from.
And
Like,
I've been doing that for a while now, a couple of months. Anytime there's sunlight out, I try to go on hikes. I go on a 5 mile hike, and I go one way is like 2.5, and then one way is 2.5 again.
that's
And
epic.
I try to go like that while in the sun, so that way I get, because I'm pale as a ghost, but I try to get sunlight in, so that way I get that vitamin D in, and I feel a
Yeah.
lot better, like you said. Not
Yeah.
only just through my body, but from like the sunlight itself. It just feels nice.
Better habits create a better life. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not rocket science. Better habits create a better life. That's it. It's simple, but people make it complicated.
Yeah.
Sorry, suck chat. Something in chat.
It's
Tricks.
all good. It's
Tricks. Yo, pale is hot.
Hell is wicked hot.
I don't know. I've been pale as a ghost for the longest time in my life, and I just wanted to get like a suntan on. I'm
Man.
part Native American, but I actually like to get the skin tone of the Native Americans. Mostly Irish, but then the hint of Native American in me, I like the change, a
Well,
little bit.
half of you is like very dark, very tan looking right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because when I'm
Look
driving on
at
the truck, my arm's out the window, so I get sunlight
you.
constantly on my arms.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
trucker
yeah,
tan. The
yep.
trucker
Oh.
tan. I just realized I could be taken a wrong way. Trucker
not to
tan.
be not to be misconstrued with the other
Yeah,
one.
not to be
So
misconstrued.
I'm not an Autobot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
oh, okay. So Maddie, you're big
Yes.
on mindfulness, you're big on affirmations and surrounding yourself with positive influences.
Yeah.
How the hell every morning do you get these affirmations to write in these chats, or just for every person that just in your chat that wants one? How do you get that inspiration? It just comes to you instantly? You
Just
have Chat GPT open on the side? Like,
no, no, never. And I look forward to moments where I can just do it on command to prove that it's not, pre-written. That's why I have freestyle redemption. So you can give me
Mm,
a subject and an instrumental, and I will give you a song on the spot. So there's no way that I could ever plan it or script it.
yeah.
I think that certain people are created to do certain things in life, and I was, I'm doing part of what I was created for. And when you are aligned with your passion and what you believe is you can feel is your purpose,
mhm,
it flows effortlessly. It's like anything,
mhm,
man. Watching Michael Jordan play basketball, watching Tiger Woods play golf,
mhm.
watching figure skaters or, ballet dancers, some people just have a natural ability to do things and gravitate towards them. Not everyone acts on them, So that's just kind of what allows me to do it. I'm just in the moment. I'm in my flow state. It's just what I love, and better habits create a better life. Like when I'm up early in the morning, like I immediately start my day with gratitude. When
Mm.
my alarm goes off at 4:30, I'm out of my bed, and the first thing I say before I even take my first real conscious breath is, "Thank you, God, for waking me up today. I'm grateful to have another day." And then I just continue on with certain things that I say and affirm every morning. I come out for 20 minutes, and as I drink my pre-workout for the gym, I listen to inspiration or I listen to affirmations, and I just put myself in the present moment, and just kind of try to create the energy in the day without whereas a lot of people let the energy of the day control them. So I
Mm.
try to just shift the narrative, and like we talked about earlier, I try to steer that ship. Um Create the day before it happens, and then just do what you got to do to create it.
It's nice too. A lot of the times when I wake up, I go to work and we get a break for a 15-minute break between 8:45 and 9. And when I'm
Mm,
scrolling through TikTok, your videos pop up all the time for me. And I loved it
yeah.
because like one of the most recent ones I saw was the donut one. I love that one.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that was fun. That was a quick little ditty, yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool because like that, gave me a little like little gratitude, a little happiness. I was like, that's inspiring to think about, and it's nice. So it's
Yeah,
like it gave me more pep in the step, I guess, like more
yeah.
energy for the day.
And that's why I love putting out content super early, None of those posts are scheduled to come out. It's not like I do them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and just schedule them for like 7:30 or 7 a.m. Like I just got done working out. I just got done doing my morning stuff, and now I am lit up like a Christmas tree. Let's share it with the world, and that's
Nice.
where a good amount of inspiration comes from. Is just if you want to win the day, you got to start by winning the morning. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's kind of the fundamentals of it.
So, all right. I'm going to go first on this one. How can positive communication techniques like encouragement strengthen personal bonds? So at first, like when I came to Discord and everything like that, I was very shut off. Um, didn't trust many people, anything like that, because one, Discord was new to me. Two, everybody has an angle in
Mm,
some way, shape, or form, where they want to be the first one to get you there, or they want to actually, ride your coattails, something like that, in case you are really popular or not. So I'm just like, okay, didn't really trust it. My buddy got me into it, and he was doing really well. He was doing decent, and he's like, "You should do this." And I started streaming. Then it went from that to, "Oh, I'm going to do a podcast." Did a podcast with my buddy John, and then that failed flat on his face. Um, not a bad thing. Learned from it. Took the time away from it, and then just went back streaming. And then I stepped away from everything, and I came back a different person because when I moved back here, I came back to Discord and everything like that fully. And everybody's like, "You seem happier. You seem like you enjoy your life again." And like, and then I see it because I sit in VC by myself hours on end sometimes, and then people just jump in, jump in, jump in, jump in, jump in, jump in, and they'll sit with me and talk with me forever. I'm just like, y'all have y'all's own discords.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just like, y'all don't have to keep coming here. And they're like, oh, we like coming here. It's like, that's fucking weird, but okay, whatever.
they like you. They like your, I guess, aura you give off. So.
I like that energy out of you.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I think it's strengthening a lot of bonds that I didn't have before, um, and I feel like they're more stable.
Mm.
You know, we can be more open with each other. We can be more honest with each other, even if we don't want to fucking hear it. You know, it's one of those things that we kind of conduct ourselves like. And, you know, I feel like it's been a good thing being more positive,
Mm.
as much as it pains me to fucking say it.
Do you feel like it's strengthened? Like, I know we're talking about connections with other people, but do you feel like a certain level of strength within connecting deeper with yourself, that it's kind of like
Mm.
had an even more, and maybe not like an intentional way, but it just has happened to strengthen a little bit more of you within you?
Mm.
Have you been listening to me and Satan's talks or something like that in the background in the locker room or something?
No, this is just that, just from what you said, what how you were talking about the connections with other people, it just
Mm.
kinda, sparked a question, popped up in my head, and
I like it.
yeah.
So recently, so
Mhm.
yeah, active listening thing.
Right,
So
baby.
I feel like it has, and like lately, there's been a little development with me personally, and I feel like it has gotten that way. Not to where I want it to be though,
In what
uh,
ways?
mentally, um,
Just
for
purely
myself.
mental?
Yeah, purely mentally for myself,
How you
to
see
get a deeper
yourself
connection, how I see myself, and how I convey it to everyone.
and how you feel?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
but still working on it. You know,
Yeah,
doing
it's
my
Hey,
always progress.
doing my
you're gonna
therapy and
work
stuff
on
like
it, you're
that.
gonna work on it until the day you're no longer here, my man.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean
The the
that's how
human
That's
that's
e
life.
the
the human experience is an imperfect one, but
Mm-hmm.
that
yeah
being said, there's always room to grow and learn more, because no one
Prove
will
it.
ever know everything.
yeah that's true. That is very true. Now, Maddie, how can positive communication techniques and like encouragement and strengthen personal bonds in your own words?
Man, like energy attracts like energy. So,
Mm.
like, man, negative energy is super powerful. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
incredibly, but we see it all day, every day. People are making millions of dollars off negativity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, from any avenue you can think of. We don't even have to target one of them. But the same goes for positivity. I mean, sheesh. And you attract what you put out. So I feel like people that are wanting deeper connections with others also want deeper connections with themselves.
Mm.
And if you start surrounding yourself with people that may be a few steps ahead of you on the same path, but just a few steps ahead of you, and maybe like, you can get that feeling of like Mr. Savage, like opening up, and you guys getting deeper with each other. Like those same things happen with you and other people too. And people that you meet maybe a year or two ago, you would treat them differently or feel differently. You'd be closed off and guarded. The energy would then resonate into them. So they're gonna feel like, okay, maybe I shouldn't try to hug this guy, in a sense. But now, flash forward that year and you've had all that you know, kind of shift within yourself. And now you're creating better connections with others, like energy.
Like energy.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
they
like
say,
energy. Yeah.
misery has followers, man. Right?
So
Yeah.
Misery keeps company, but so does positivity.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true.
so are you a hugger?
A hugger? Yeah.
Yeah,
I like to hug people.
Mm.
I'm not like, I'm not going to be like weird about it, but like, yeah, I won't shy away from giving someone a hug or like,
you're not going to give them a hug and sniff their hair or anything like that.
no, I will do that. I will do that depending on the person and the setting for sure. I've
Got
done
got
that.
some nice hair.
Yeah, growing up, even like going with my friends' moms, especially like just messing with them, just I've been that kind of character, I
Okay.
guess you could say. Kind of Austin
Yeah,
Powers, very just like
Ah,
I'm
okay.
very out there, like I'm very I guess you could say I'm a lot of different things. Flamboyant is definitely one of them, but I'm a
Mm.
straight male married to my wife, like but I'm just in touch with myself,
look, you don't have to say anything about that. I was military, and it transpires over if you know who Captain Snooch is, or who Spear Walker is, or if you know certain individual are all military. We say some wild shit that literally gets portrayed as like, are y'all sure y'all aren't
I think that's
you
just the
know?
the common male, like the common straight male relationships, like,
Yeah,
doing funny things and, sometimes sus things, as they say.
of
Yeah.
course, of course. It's always a great time. I do it
It's
to Mr. Savage all the time when he's streaming, and then
boss
I
lady's
get yelled
like,
at. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. She gets mad at me, but
Yeah, I be saying weird things all the time. Like
Yeah.
I'll just be like to the homies, like, "Oh, baby, you got a grande bicho, I can tell," and like they'll be like, "What?" Be like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "You don't gotta hide it. It's
I
okay."
yeah. As I like to call it, like the homosexuals. You're
The
there you go. The
homosexuals, yeah. I'm
homosexuals.
incredibly homosexual, yeah.
yeah,
But
exactly.
I just feel like it's because, man, sheesh. Like the world has a wild way of hardening people, man. And I feel like the
Yes.
world is just a beautiful thing. Like, I don't care how hard of an individual you are. If like a little ass kid hands you an invisible phone because they say you got a phone call, I've seen
Yeah.
the hardest of cats answer that invisible phone. And if you don't, red
Mm-hmm.
alert on that
Yeah.
Yep.
person. Red alert.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sheesh. I don't know. Like I said, like energy attracts like energy, baby.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
some
it
people,
does.
some people just want to, some people crack the mold a little bit. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
It's
Yeah.
saying?
it's it's good to spread the positivity and love.
Massage that
Yeah.
tension out of it. Yeah, but yeah, I like to
Yeah.
hug, man. I hug with my heart. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I hug with my heart.
Um.
It's a beautiful connection.
Now
Especially when you get that good hug.
on yourself, are you like very body positive? Body
Yeah,
positive in general? Okay, because I know
yeah,
you
for
work out,
sure.
but it's like some people even after like they have a good like you have a good muscular definition. Like I can see you're bulky,
Thanks.
and I know a lot of
Thanks.
people that have that definition, but still are hard on themselves. They look at themselves in the mirror and they're like, "Ah, I could be better. I could do better. This
Yeah.
percentage of fat is way too high or whatever." And it's like,
Oh
bro,
yeah.
you're way better than 90% of the country. You should be happy with yourself. Be
Yeah.
more
I
positive.
mean, I mean, look at Maddie over here. Look
I have
at
the
him.
world's smallest legs, dog. I have the world's smallest calves. I'll show you
Oh
right
my
now.
God, really?
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Just got to work on them some more, and
Yeah.
it'll be brought them up.
I've been trying
The,
for over a decade, man. They
the
just
Okay,
weighted,
so my
the
hammies
weighted,
and my quads grow, but the calves they don't
just
show.
stay the same. Okay.
the
Yeah, all the time.
what you need
Sometimes genetics.
My
what you
dad
need
has
is
skinny legs.
what you need is what we used to do in high school in the
Give it to me.
summertime. Some TFT, truck fuck Thursdays. Find a hill, park the truck at the bottom.
Mm.
Just have somebody sit in the driver's seat. Have a buddy. Trust me, have a goddamn buddy.
Oh yeah,
Have a
just
buddy in
get
case you
run
need to get
over.
carted off the field.
Yeah, and just start pushing up there, different angles, different ways to do it. Push,
Mm.
push, go back to it. Everything. Use all your leg muscles,
Yeah.
Mm,
all of them, because it's
Yeah.
just body mechanics. It's just using those leg muscles, everything like that. We do that every single week, all summer long,
Massive calves.
and it's one of those things that I was like, oh yeah, we're doing TFT today, so we hit squats, do weighted calf raises, then go to the back down BFE, the hill nobody ever goes down there, and just push this truck up
Mm.
this hill. Then we ride back and we do it again. We do
Yep.
it 3 times, and we're doing it together, and we're just like looking at each other like, what the fuck are we doing? We were just at the fucking gym.
Yeah, you're gonna be like Saquon Barkley's legs out here. I
Yeah.
feel that. I openly
mm,
admit I used to be a little self-conscious of my legs growing up, like when I was much, much younger. But man, over time, like I'm like, what does a
yeah,
difference does it make? Like, you see how
yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger looks nowadays? Like, dog, you ain't
Yeah.
gonna keep it forever,
yeah.
But
No.
I always look at it like it's true what they say: beauty is only skin deep.
Mm-hmm.
I think that your physical appearance can definitely make you feel good, make you feel better, boost your confidence. But if you put all your energy into only feeling good when you look good, then you're not really feeling good. You
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
to me, I'm not very self-conscious of my body. I love the way that I look. I love how I sound. I love everything about me in the most non-egotistical, self-centered, narcissistic way
Yeah,
possible. I just love me for who I am. I accept me for who I am,
yeah. You accept. That's a good way to
Yeah,
put it.
all the positive, the negatives, the good, the
Mm-hmm.
bad, the beautiful, ugly, whatever. Cause
Yeah.
it's me. And
Mm-hmm.
just like you is you and Raider is Raider, like this is our only shot at living life, like,
Yeah.
in this body, like, like, why not make it pleasureful?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I
That's the way
was
I
just
look at it, right?
Yeah.
when growing up, I was pretty much the same way. Instead of being my legs, it was more of like my chest. I
Mhm.
would go swimming, I'd be wearing a shirt. I wouldn't want to wear like I wouldn't want to be shirtless. But now
Yeah.
I don't care what I like. I care to the like a healthy standard point. I don't want to get like
You look like
obese,
you're in great
obese.
shape, I mean, from where I'm
That's just
sitting, you know?
for it's genetics for me. Like I go to hikes, like I said, but besides that,
Mm.
my job and the hikes is what keeps me in shape. I don't go to the gym. I'm just lucky with my genetics in that kind of sense. But I eat healthy. I have a carnivore diet, so I eat steak like
Yeah,
high
buddy.
proteins. But
Yep.
besides that, like it's when I was younger, I didn't like to take my shirt off. I'd swim with my shirt on, all that stuff. But as
Mm.
I grew up, I kind of outgrew that, and just didn't really care what it was like the outcome. I was just like, I'm just gonna be me, enjoy it, and like you said, enjoy yourself, be positive
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. That's contagious too. Like,
Mhm.
Mm,
when you see somebody, like, doing something that majority of people wouldn't do, but you're deep inside, you're like, Man, I wish I could do that. Like, I wish I could go out and dance in public like that. I wish I could, like, just
yeah,
sing and just have fun and just be who I am in public." And it's like, you don't gotta wish for it, dog. Like, this person's doing it, like, you can do it too.
Just do it.
Yeah, just
just
do it.
for example, it's like
Shia LaBeouf
I'm
it.
gonna call Raider out a little bit here. Raider knows how
Oh
to
my
dance.
god.
He knows how to
Oh my
dance really
god.
Ooh!
good. I've seen him
Oh my
dance. He knows
god.
how to dance. I don't know how to dance, so I'm gonna be a little shy about it. But him,
Catch
I
him
can
on the
see him in the
wedding
dance
video.
floor.
Oh my god. There'd be no wedding video of me dancing.
Thank you, boss lady.
No, there's
That compliment.
that video is a different video. That's of me being a jackass and being bored and like having fun out
Mhm.
there on the dance
Having
floor and
fun.
everything like that. Yeah,
So you're
I dance.
admitting that you can dance well if you're saying that that was just for fun and messing around. I see you now.
I don't think I could dance well, but I think there's
Yeah,
another
I
level.
see you.
I see
I see
there's
you.
levels to this shit, man.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. Mhm.
I dance well. I dance well. That's what I'll
Mm,
say. I enjoy dancing.
I like that.
I ballroom waltz. I two
Ooh,
step. I one step. I know bachata. I know
See,
salsa.
he knows
I know
all
how to
this.
line
yeah,
dance.
that's
I don't know any
crazy.
of that. Not one.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah, I will teach you.
Ah, I
I
mean,
got you.
do it for, leading up to the wedding. Just come out with this beautiful, elaborate ballroom dance and incorporate some
Right.
bachata in it. Like, that'd be incredible.
So,
That'd be so cool.
so my friend, yeah,
Bossy.
so my friend Morena, shout out to you, Morena. I know you're out there watching, because she watches every episode, and I track it.
Morena.
She does, but need a choreography for a dance.
Mm.
So yeah, for
Fire.
a wedding, I'll hit you up. But yeah, um,
I love
But yeah.
that.
yeah. Let's see here. We already did that. We already covered that. Damn, we were just talking about it and it just came up.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
Is that
natural.
funny how
so
that works?
yeah,
I love it.
so yeah,
It's so
every
funny.
single time. So highlight examples of motivational speeches and optimistic leadership. So
Mm.
I'll let you go first, Maddie.
What
Highlight
is
an
it? What is
example.
the question?
Can you highlight examples of motivational
Mm.
speeches and optimistic leadership?
Mm.
Hmm. Optimistic leadership. I think a really great one of that was like former artists that I look up to, like Nipsey Hussle. You know, definitely Nipsey Hussle is up in my top just for who he was as an individual, what he stood on, and what he did for his community and people. Um, but as for someone that wasn't in like music industry, let's say, because there's a lot of names in the music industry that I could name, but I think for me personally, people like Les Brown. I mean, he is my number one motivational speaker of all time. Is Les Brown, and he changed my life. Just listening to a motivational video back in the day, stumbled upon it. I used to listen to gym motivation back in the day, like get pumped before the gym in between my 2 jobs,
Mm.
just get that spark, and I remember one day, I don't think that I had my second job, but I would still listen to motivation or whatever, and you know how YouTube is, even 12 years ago, we're talking, YouTube spit something into my my algorithm or whatever, and I was like, "What is this?" You know, the thumbnail attracted me, and I listened to it. I was stuck in my seat for like 2, 3 hours just listening to motivational videos, watching them, and just like completely inspired, motivated, and empowered by the words this man spoke, which led me down the road of eventually starting to put out my own motivation in a sense with, hints of other motivational speakers. They would produce thoughts in my mind and I would look at life differently. And then I'd be like, I think this way about this. And, I just share those. And he was definitely one of them. And I think his leadership in that role, and Jim Rohn as well, one of them, Wayne Dyer, Alan Watts, like they just all have this innate ability to be who they are while also sharing about their struggles and their successes, but not holding on to either one of them, rather showing you that you can develop and become whoever you choose. You can develop and become, but if you don't believe that you can't become a just as a, societal, like wealthy, strong, resilient, courageous person, then you're not ever going to be.
Yeah,
But if you don't believe that you can be anything, you don't believe you're anyone special, you don't believe you're beautiful, you don't believe you're worth it, you're not, because you don't believe it. And you can't force anyone to change you unless you want to change yourself.
that's true.
So, however you choose to think is that's you, if you allow it to be. So that's what a lot of those speakers taught me, in short. And yeah, all those names I mentioned are incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, great quotes came from them all. There's millions of quotes, but very empowering, very powerful.
Mm.
Okay. Uh, Savage.
Mm. Me, same
Uh,
question.
Same question. You need me to repeat it?
No, it's like motivational people, basically, like who inspired me. And honestly, I can't really bring it to like real people, but like growing up, I was big into comics, superheroes. They have a lot of motivational kind of things in comics.
Yep.
They're fictional, but they can be used to guide someone in a certain way. Like a big person for me growing up was Spider-Man. And a lot of like things he's said throughout his like career as being Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. That's a big like quote that people can kind of
Uncle Ben,
Uncle Ben.
R.I.P. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, but in terms of like real people, I see quotes and stuff. I never really know who they are, but it's like, oh, that's interesting. It's a interesting perspective on life. So it's like, hard times create, easy people, and then like easy people create hard times, kind of like a cycle of
Yeah.
life. And then those kind of things. But in terms of like motivation, I kind of just maybe music would be a good one for that. Like a different. I listen to a wide variety between like metal to rap. I'm more like kind of like guided from like the 90s era of like rap, or like 80s to 90s rap. I like that kind of, is a passion driven like emotion to it, whereas today's rap is like, yeah, they still have it some here, but it's a lot more of like more party-esque kind of like vibes to their music today, whereas back then it was like of the times, what they're going through in life, and what they did, or what they saw life, and kind of what they do to get through that struggle in life. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
can I connect to that in some way? What can I take from it and gain knowledge from that to kind of put it to my own life in a positive?
Have you ever pulled any positives from any anti-heroes?
Well, actually, he's more of a vigilante, but the Punisher is actually my go-to now.
Yeah.
I'm a big Punisher person. That's because I'm more of a logical person. It's like, it may be a dark concept, but more of like, instead of instead of putting the bad guy in jail, you take out the bad guy and kind of fixes the whole problem. But
Yeah, I know what
that's
you
how
mean.
so that's like, but that's kind of what I see as like a more modern thing. But when I was younger, I think it was more nice, like a more positive notice to be like Spider-Man,
Yeah.
even like people like Iron Man, or even like
Superman, Captain America,
yeah,
like,
Captain America, the righteous, but
yeah.
or
The
supposedly
right.
righteous, but there's
Supposedly.
the ideal of being like the person that is the head figure for America. It's supposed to be like to to a certain degree, it's like it's supposed to be good, it's supposed to be positive, like it's for, you know, the people.
Yeah.
But it could be, if you go into depth, it could be a lot more than just that. But
Oh yeah, anyone that watched the Avengers would definitely knows.
yeah. But yeah, so I guess mostly just comics and music really is where I got my motivation from.
Mm. How about you, Raider?
I got mine from two different places.
David Goggins. I'm just
Close,
kidding. I'm
close.
just kidding.
Jocko Willink.
Yeah, I thought that would be the name.
So it's his good speech and his leadership speech for Jocko Willink resonate with me a lot. And yeah, and the second one is Gunny Walgreen's John Glenn speech. You can look it up on YouTube. It's we're in Marja, and that speech gives you goosebumps because you're getting ready to go raid, you're ready to go patrol, you're getting ready to go and hit the shit. And states out there that we don't tell y'all shit.
Mm,
We want y'all pissed off.
mm.
So now you're here. We cut the cord, we took off the leash, go fucking crazy and defend each other and take care of business,
But yeah.
So it's one of those things that hits home, and it's one of those things that constantly makes me keep motivated every once in a while whenever I need it.
It's like that pregame speech.
Yep, it is that pregame speech. I don't know if you play football or not, but yeah, no.
I love football, but I never was allowed to play it growing up because my dad would hesitate from that because I have type 1 diabetes ever since I was 4 years old. So it was kind of one of those things where he would do basketball because he could coach and be there. But I think
Okay.
with, having to take shots and snacks, and I can't like be in the middle of a play, be like, my blood sugar is low. You know what I mean? Like, which is funny
Yeah.
because there are professional NFL players like Mark Andrews, the tight end for the Ravens, who has type 1 diabetes. So it's at that age though, wasn't having it. But I love football, to answer your question.
Yeah. No, good.
Never played it though, outside of just backyard.
All right. Who's your team? NFL.
Man, it's the Pats. I'm a New England boy.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's the most respected, most hated team in the NFL.
Yeah.
The Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my second team is gonna make you laugh, but it's Dallas. So like my first team is
Oh
New
my
England, and then I love Dallas.
God.
Yeah, those are my top two teams, but New
That's
England
funny.
takes number one all day. Yeah.
All right. So my teams are obviously the Texans because I'm right here by Houston. I grew up around here. So before that, there was the Oilers when they were here before they went to Tennessee and became the
Tennessee,
Titans. And my other team, it's going to surprise people, it's the Eagles because my buddy actually plays on the Eagles, so I support him
that's
as well.
crazy.
Mm.
I
So,
always
yeah.
said that I love how I love the team of the Phillies and how powerful they are and how good they are, but I
Yeah.
can't stand their fan base.
No, they're
Yeah.
insane. They're
If their
ruthless.
fan base
They're
is trash, no disrespect,
yes.
but they're just like,
No disrespect.
yeah,
You're trash, but no
yeah,
disrespect.
yeah, like genuinely just like some disgusting, nasty like
That's
things
funny.
they say and do to people is crazy.
I think it was it in Minnesota? They were in Minnesota, and I think one of the championship games were there. Somebody tried to steal a fucking seat from the stadium. Don't know how they got the seat unbolted. Try to take it through the goddamn airport to check in.
Beer. It was all beer.
That's
How
crazy.
did
Beer
they
muscle.
unbolt that, first of all? Get it from there, get it out of the stadium, travel it over there to the airport, and then get in the front door with it. Like,
That's
no.
wild.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I know you don't really follow sports, Savage, but do you have a team?
Yeah, I mean, I followed the Patriots a lot when Tom Brady was the quarterback.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, I know, hate me for it, but that's the iteration.
That's our generation.
Yeah, so
Like-
I followed him through his whole career, and I was like, wow, that is, it's a once in a lifetime kind of guy for him to come up like that. Like, yeah,
Crazy.
he wasn't even the main quarterback originally. He
No,
was
it's
a
Drew Bledsoe.
No, he wasn't.
yeah.
Drew
So just
Bledsoe.
for all that to line up, and then him have that huge career, and then he's now who he is. It's like he's like the Michael Jordan, or like Babe Ruth, but of football.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
Mr.
it's like
Drafted
it's
Yeah.
like 199th overall, going up
Yep.
to Robert Kraft saying, "I'm the best decision you ever made," and then proving his point.
yeah,
Yes.
it's crazy. But like for like I grew up with my dad who's a Redskins fan. So, you
Oh,
know,
that's wild.
so it's like he's a huge Redskins fan. I mean, that's
Yeah,
most likely because like he's Native American. He's 50% Apache. So,
the
you know, that's a huge
heritage,
yeah, the
definitely.
heritage.
Yeah,
And they had their runs. They had a few couple Super Bowl wins, but it's just like that's the team you choose. But I was like,
yeah. I'm sure he
that's the
was
team
an
you like.
Indians guy too. If you watch
Yeah.
baseball, I'm sure that like
Yeah.
Cleveland
Well, yeah,
Indians makes sense.
He's a Red Sox guy for through and through on that,
Oh, okay, okay, okay. But
but yeah.
football,
Okay.
it's kind of
Yeah,
funny, the
football.
Redskins.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, all right, but then for me, I'm like, I like you said, I don't watch sports all the time. It's usually only when it's a big game, the Super Bowl, you know, the World Series Cups for finals, and it's like, oh, it's the Red Sox. All right, I'll come and watch it. You know,
Yeah,
the first game I actually watched through and through was when the Patriots won and they were losing from like 3-24 or whatever it was.
28-3 against the Falcons, the most
Yeah,
incredible comeback in football history.
I was drinking moonshine with my friend, right? Blueberry moonshine with my friend. Just sitting there. We're sitting there chilling, and we're like, it's like fourth quarter. They're still down, and it's just like, holy crap, they're gonna lose. And then we're like, holy crap, they're coming back, and everything
Crazy.
just lined up, and they end up winning.
Bing,
It was
bing, bing. It was
yeah,
nuts.
yeah. So
Wildest Super
that
Bowl
was the
ever.
first game I actually ever watched through and through.
Chills thinking about it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we got two Pats fans on both sides of me. This is fantastic. But yeah.
Hi.
All right. Last question. Um, how can we teach children both positive communication and a positive outlook on life? Go to you.
Lead by example.
Mm,
Lead by example. You can't sit here and tell a kid not to smoke while you're chiefing a cigarette. You can't tell kids not to
yeah.
drink while you have a bottle in your hand. They pay attention and soak up everything that you do, whether you think they're not listening or watching or they are. And they don't do that stuff when you see them because they know better. They do that stuff when they're away from you. And when the parents get told, they say, that can't be my kid. That can't be my little Johnny. No, no, no. What a saint. Yeah, well, buddy, I've seen you on a Friday night and I've heard you during those Pats games. Your kid is soaking all that energy up. So lead by example is that's my answer. No need to go on about anything more. Lead by
Yeah.
example.
But Matt, it's do as I say, not as I do.
Right? Yeah,
That's how
you know
I was
how,
raised.
yeah,
That's how
parents.
I was raised.
Yeah, man. Nah.
No, but I
My
agree. I
Yeah,
agree with him.
lead by
so
example.
my mom realized I was drinking. I lied to her, of course,
Of course.
because I was like, she's like, hey, grab me a beer from the fridge. Cool, grabbed it. Didn't think anything else. She's like, why you holding the beer like that? I'm like, what? Yeah, why you holding the beer like that? It's like, I'm just holding it. And she's like, but why you holding it like that? It's like, just hand it to her. She's like, you been drinking? No,
Moms
no,
know. Moms
no.
know. And so do dads. Moms know, I think, more sometimes.
Yeah, and I was like, nope. And then I I thought I was slick. Thought I was slick.
We all do.
Place the alcohol with water trick. Yeah, I thought I was slick.
Nope. We all,
No,
yeah,
no.
I'll tell you. Yeah, I used to tell my mom, she'd be like, what are you going? Where are you going? Or whatever. I used to be like, oh, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go get stoned real quick. You know, I'm going to go out and do these things. I used to just say it, right? And she would be like, laugh, like, yeah, okay. Have fun, be safe. And because I was like, yo, if I ever get in trouble, like, I told you what
I
I was
told you
going to
what I was
do.
doing.
Like, you just chose to not believe me. I may say it in a playful way, but like, yeah, I was being honest back then, you know? Yeah. For the most part, I would never do that with my dad, man. No way. No shot. Nah, they were separated too. So like, it's one of those things where like, if, you know, they gotta they don't want to talk as it is. So if you do do some shit that's gonna upset one of them and they have to tell the other one, now they have to talk to that person that they just despise. And now you're in it for even worse, most likely. So it's like I gotta play
Ah,
both roles. Like I gotta be one way at my mom's and I'm a slightly different way at my dad's, but like still similar, you know. Eh, lead by example. Lead by example.
yeah.
That's where we're
Mm.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
The original
So,
question.
so Savage,
Yes.
your answer for that.
I mean, you can't really divert, like, go off of that too much. Really, it's like I agree 100%. That's by example. Kids are very susceptible to what you do and what you say. They look up to you, so they're looking for guidance. You know, as you raise them, you're their everything. You're their superhero. So they're gonna look at you like you're God, essentially. They're looking at you like, what am I doing with life? Oh, I'll do what they do. So if they see dad drinking a beer every day, they're eventually going to think, okay, that's all right to do. That's fine. You know, so lead by example, like you said.
I think only in rare, we can agree probably that in very rare situations, one out of however many kids might see that and be like, I never want to be like that,
Yeah,
and like make the other road. But for the majority, they ain't like that.
Yeah, but it usually goes to like what what caused them to think that way because they had
mm,
to see go through something that may either one
dramatic.
be traumatic,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
two they might have
Abuse or
saw like
something. Yeah,
they might have saw like if that makes them like that stupid, I don't fucking want to be a part of it.
yeah,
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Because
things like
everyone's
that.
unique. Like the brain is crazy, man. Like you can talk about how the brain may function as a unit and how it does certain things, but you can't explain how it works.
yeah,
That's the thing. Like you can only like we can explain how we build a computer and put chips in it and all that, but you can't explain how the current actually knows what to do, where to go, and how it does what it does. It's like, how does that thing work?
yeah.
Magic.
Crazy.
It's
Magic.
it's great. It's
Yeah,
like a
like
computer, you know.
you're not thinking about breathing. Like not one of us has thought about taking a conscious breath this whole time, but we've been breathing the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what
exactly.
I'm
Your
saying?
mind.
Like how much of what we do is really on autopilot and how much of it is intentional. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I don't know how we got down that road. I don't know about that.
It
My bad.
happens. It
It
happens. It
happens. No, I
happens.
agree. You know, it's like it's.
All right. So I am putting in both chats the link to Maddie's link tree,
Mm,
Hey,
and we're
thank
definitely
going
you.
to
check them
take a
Thank
out.
you.
look at it.
Please do. Yes.
All right. Maddie Pace for everything Maddie Mo Show, business services, and more. Here are all the links. So you got some merch store. Just by the way, he just released his merch store not too long ago.
We
Sweet merch.
did. Yes,
Let's
thank you.
go.
His TikTok, he has his inspirational, motivational, you know, things and stuff and things there. Cameo, don't really know what that's about. Maddie, tell him what that Cameo is about.
So Cameo is a
Mm,
platform where you can hire a variation of people to make customized video content for you. So like we all know Snoop Dogg. Snoop
Yep.
Dogg's on Cameo. So if you want to
Oh, okay.
go, you want to have Snoop Dogg send your dad, who's a massive Snoop Dogg fan, a happy birthday message. All you
mm,
do is submit a Cameo order. You pay the price that's listed. You put in detailed description of what you want in that video, and
mm.
then Snoop gets it. Snoop does it. Now you have a video from Snoop Dogg. So I, a few years ago, got invited to be a talent on Cameo. So if you
Nice.
ever want, yeah, a customized video from me, I can do a multitude of things, whether it's a fun song, motivational message that's personalized to you or someone that you know. I've done provocative bedtime story. I've done a laundry list of things. Yeah, I do everything. So I legitimately, yeah, Cameo is just a platform where you can hire various talents to make customized
Nice.
video content.
Okay. Then we got his Twitch where he streams. When do you stream normally, Maddie?
I stream 5 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time, and Tuesday and Thursday, usually around 5 to 7, maybe 4 to 7, kind of, but more late afternoon, early evening.
Okay. Then you got his YouTube.
Yes, the Matty Mo Show YouTube channel, baby. All motivation all the time. Some vlog content as well. There's some older videos up there from my podcast, which is the name of the Matty Mo Show, of course. And I've done reviews, I've done interviews, and now it's predominantly more motivation driven, more inspiration. But there's a lot of great content on there. Some stuff to make you laugh, some stuff to make you think. How to Beat Addiction was a great video. I went to a sober living home and interviewed members of a sober living house and the owners. It was really
Interesting.
cool. Yeah, it's a great YouTube channel. I'm biased, but I think it's great.
Your IG, your Twitter, PayPal, if they want to, give you like a little bit of money here and there because they like your stuff.
Yeah, it's almost similar to what is it? Patreon,
Yeah,
Yep.
Patreon, yeah.
PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. I never had that on there, but people actually on my TikTok live asked me many, like last year, if there was links on there. So I just decided to put them in there. If people were asking me for it, I figure
Okay.
they must
Okay.
want it.
I mean, if they want to do it, you can't.
Yeah,
It's their free
yeah.
choice.
So it's up there, but I'm by no means like, please send me Venmo. But if you want to, I'm gonna accept it.
Yeah. Entertainment website was that?
So when I left my job, years ago, I created the Matty Mo Show LLC, which is an arts and entertainment business and company. So mainly I started to get into more MC and event hosting because that's what I was doing. I was hosting events, MCing events like mainly weddings or parties where I would be the announcer and I would, let's say you had a party, in a big event where you're doing raffles and you need someone to orchestrate and keep the crowd in control. All right, now we're doing lunch and this and that. That's originally why I created the website, and then
Cool.
I got away from that and just started to put more of what I'm doing in streaming and content creation under that umbrella. So that's what the entertainment website is. It also has access to all my podcast episodes. And I was running my merchandise through that website, doing all the stuff myself, but
Okay.
it just became a little too much. So I decided to open up the shop online now.
Yeah. Outsource it. Don't stress her out. Don't stress yourself
Exactly.
out.
Exactly. I mean, listen, when people are in demand, you give them what they want, if you feel like it's the right thing to do. And I just couldn't do that through my own website because it's way different. It's a different story for a different time, but it's a lot more work.
Yeah. All right. So next week's episode might feel like it's a little bit different. It's because I want Mr. Savage to have the reins.
Ooh, I like that, Mr. Savage.
He might not have all the reins, but he's gonna have the reins, and I want him to. Yeah, okay. So I want him to curate it in a way that he likes to see how it goes,
That's
and
dope.
then go from there. We're gonna try this out and see how it works. If it works out, let's see a little switch swap every once in a while, so we get some variation.
The
You know?
Saturday switch.
Yeah, do a little switch up. Savage, do you remember what the topic is for this next episode?
I'm trying to remember right now. Wasn't the school education? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Ooh,
Okay.
that's gonna be a wild topic.
Yeah, I like topics that are like they're always fresh in my mind. It's like current kind of topics. Either it's like conspiracy theories or stuff, or it's like things that are actually important to today's society. So
I like
Yep,
that. That's gonna be a good one.
and then I think the next week after that, we're gonna do a little controversial episode.
I like
okay.
that too.
Yeah,
Because
controversial is nice.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of things being talked about right now in the news that some people want some standpoints and want some knowledge on certain things. So why the fuck not?
Ye old current events.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to cancel somehow. I already know it. This is fine though.
Nah, they can't cancel you. Come
Oh,
on
they
now.
can't. Happened once before. We're going to do it again.
You ain't getting canceled. You fine.
But yeah,
Let's go. I
you'll
like
make
that,
sure I don't
boss.
get
I like
canceled.
that. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. You start a Patreon and put like the uncensored versions on there. Charge
Well, there
people
you
so
go.
if they want to hear the unfiltered version of what you said.
First, we gotta get people on the Patreon first. But I gotta push.
Listen,
I unpublished the
put it
store
out
because I
there.
unpublished the Patreon. It's like there's something I don't like about this, and I can't figure it out.
We'll
Let me
get there.
figure it out, and then yeah. So we're gonna do it. But
Yeah,
we're
we can
gonna
do
we'll see where it
different
goes.
ways. You can start like an email list too, and if people flip you Venmo or PayPal of a certain rate, you have those names and you can email them the videos.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways. Don't,
Yep.
I'm just figured I'd throw some stuff at a wall and see if it sticks.
Oh yeah, I got you.
I don't want to throw a wall at you. Well, okay, then that
I
works.
kind of do. I do.
Then W boss lady, let's go.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Join the Raid podcast. Again,
Yes.
I can't not thank you enough. Love interaction. Want more interaction. And remember, no questions too dumb unless our mods say they are. So that's all it works. And, you on YouTube that are watching, thank you so much. We will see you again. And I hope y'all have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and thanks for spending your time with us on this Saturday night. All right. Ciao.
Appreciate it.